A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, the Goldbergs. Well, the Goldbergs hardly seem to have possession of their own house, what with the affairs of Molly's two protégés, Edward Way and Orianne Leland. At this very moment, in the Goldberg parlor, among the simply homely things that make up the Goldberg home, the very elegant former wife of the ex-prisoner is facing her former husband. There's a whole world of bitterness, anguish, and hate between them. Listen.
Well, what do you want, Margaret?
Wouldn't it be politer to ask how I am first?
How are you?
I'm not very well.
You look just the way you always did. What do you want?
I want to see you.
Well, here I am. Is that all?
No, Edward. How is your new business?
That has nothing to do with you. What do you want? What are you doing here in Lassenburg?
I said I came to see you.
I have no reason to see you, and I have no desire to do so.
Am I annoying you?
Yes. And you've annoyed my friends also.
Your friends?
The people here. That was a childish trick, calling up all through the night.
That was a childish trick, not answering the phone.
I told you before, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you.
That's why I'm here.
You mean if I did want to see you, you wouldn't be here?
I don't know. You haven't changed much in 3 years. In fact, you look healthier.
I had less on my mind after you divorced me.
Like cigarettes?
I don't smoke anymore.
You certainly have changed.
Margaret, if there's anything you want, say it. Do you want me to answer it?
I'll take it. Excuse me. Excuse me. Hello? Yes? Oh. Yes, Dr. Cater. Well, just a minute, please. Hold. Excuse me. Dr. Cater for Orianne.
You haven't told me why you came here.
I just wanted to see you again. After all, Edward, we were husband and wife for a long time. It was a long time.
It was too long. You're still rich?
Richer.
Well, I'm glad to know it. And I suppose you haven't forgotten that it was because you wouldn't help that I went to jail.
You defrauded your investors, not I.
That's right. But you refused to help me.
That's right.
And I went to jail.
That's right.
Then perhaps you can realize a little of the abhorrence I have for you.
I do.
In the beginning, I used only to think of that. That you could have paid my way and kept me out of that devilish hole. But after a while, it kind of slipped my mind. And it's all true now. I don't even feel like getting back at you. If you will just stay out of my way, I'll be satisfied.
Perhaps I'm not satisfied to stay out of your way.
Perhaps you're not. But there isn't a thing you can do about it. We're utterly and completely disconnected. Everything. And it suits me. Besides that...
Excuse me. Sorry. Hello? Hello, Dr. Cater. Well, Orion is busy with David at the moment. Well, that's why she can't come to the phone. Well, Dr. Cater, can she call you back? Yes. But she'll call you back. Yes, she'll call you back, Dr. Cater. Bye. Excuse me. If you want something, Mr. Ray...
No, thank you, Mrs. Goldberg.
Excuse me, Mrs. Ray. Do we have to talk in this madhouse?
No. You can leave right away.
I'd like to have you take a drive with me. I want to talk to you privately.
I told you if you have anything to say it here or get out. Just looking at you makes me remember the past. It makes it all alive and crazy again. And I don't like it. And I don't like you. It was because of you and your money that I tried to make money faster than an honest man should. It was you and your decayed social position and your money. It was because of you that I lived 3 whole years of my life in a room smaller than this one. Night and day. Night and day. Mind you, night and day. When you were outside.
It was all my fault, wasn't it? But you seem to be forgetting something else. I'm sorry you're not in that jail still. And I'm sorry I can't keep you there.
I'm out now. And you're through no matter what you want.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not through. You have a very convenient memory. And all you can recall are the wrongs the world's done you. The world and Margaret. But you seem to forget that I married you, an insignificant, unimportant, poverty-stricken office worker. I married you because I loved you. Because I was crazy. I was crazy, all right. But you forget what you told me long after. That you married me because you were ambitious and wanted to get ahead. You didn't love me. You didn't even like me. You just wanted to get ahead.
Sure I did. It was in the air. Everybody did.
You married me not for myself, but for what it could get you. You didn't care how I felt, what I wanted out of life. It was you all the time. You and your ambition to be important and great. Just like all the dregs trying to rise to the top. That's what you were. And that's all you are. Well, maybe you're through trying. But I'm not through paying for what you did. What have I got left? I'm an old woman now. And those years I lived with you were no better than the years you spent in prison.
Mom, the telephone.
I'll answer it. Hello? Well, it seems to me, Dr. Cater, that you were told that Mrs. Leland was busy. She's still busy, even if you aren't.
Who is Mrs. Leland?
Who was that on the phone?
No one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me?
Who is Mrs. Leland?
It seems, Margaret, you don't like me and I don't like you. I can't think of a better arrangement for both of us than for you to stay away.
Who is Mrs. Leland? Who is she, Edward?
She's my partner in business.
In anything else?
Get out, Margaret, and stay away.
And let you push the past out of sight and let you pick up and begin again when I can't? No, not at all. You're the only one in my thoughts, Edward. Not because I love you anymore. That's been dead a long time, as long as I've been. But you're still alive in my mind, in me. I can't think of anyone else or anything else. I've tried, and I can't. It's because you humiliated me so. Because you used me as one of the steps in that gigantic fraud which is your whole life. Well, you're not going to pick up anyone and start again, even if she's a woman like this.
Shut up.
Make me. You're in love with her, aren't you? She's in love with you. What a touching romance. It's too bad I'm still alive, Edward, because as long as I'm alive, you're not through with me. And as long as I'm alive, there's never going to be another woman in your life. And don't you forget it.
The more Way and his former wife talk to each other, the clearer it seems that this is the case for none other than Dr. Christopher Gator, Jr. But, unfortunately, Chris is already in this case himself and as a patient.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, a quiz program does not always improve your IQ, but what's an NBC radio quiz program? Well, you can be sure it'll improve your disposition. Yes, NBC offers listeners a laugh lesson every Wednesday night with 2 fun-filled question-and-answer shows. One is Truth or Consequences, and though you may never learn why a chicken crosses the road, you'll howl as contestants perform the stunts dreamed up by MC Jack Bailey. The other is You Bet Your Life, and with a quizmaster like Groucho Marx, your good time is always guaranteed. Hear Truth or Consequences and You Bet Your Life with Groucho Marx tomorrow. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, Project Trojan by Ernest Kenoy. Most of the greatest contributions and biggest messes in history have been made by two kinds of brains, the devious and the literal. We quote from the monthly column written for Galaxy by its editor, H.L. Gold. For our story tonight has been inspired by one of his recent columns, discussing the exceedingly thin line that sometimes lies between science fiction and science fact, and of the strange use that both Allied and German intelligence made of science fiction during the recent World War II. Our report, of course, is entirely fictional, but similar schemes are known to have been attempted by both sides. And now, here is Project Trojan.
The idea of Project Trojan was originally conceived in February of 1943. The Intelligence Plans Commission, an adjunct to Joint Army and Naval Intelligence, was under the command of Colonel Sir Harold Bostwick. The first antecedent of Project Trojan occurred on an afternoon in February. Corporal Arthur Muggeridge was serving tea to Lieutenant Maurice Withering and Captain Amos Mackenzie.
Here you are, sir. That's real butter on the bread. I won 5 pounds of it from one of those Yank mess sergeants over at the Crown and Land.
Oh, butter, eh?
Aye, sir.
Mackenzie. Well, confounded man, you might show some interest. Here Muggeridge tangles with the 8th Air Force to improve your tea, and you sit there reading. And what the devil is so engrossing?
No, never mind. If it's me you're worrying about, you needn't, sir. I was cleared for most confidential and top secret before I set foot in the pantry.
What is it, Mackenzie?
Well, I was reading about a fascinating notion. It's a machine, you see, dreadfully ingenious. It's a method of setting up a reverse polarization field about a given metallic surface, say the plates on a submarine or a tank. Makes them 5 times as strong. A little more cream, Muggeridge.
It's powdered milk, sir.
Hush, leave me to my illusions.
Well, Mackenzie, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize what this means? Tanks 5 times as strong? Is it in production? I mean, when are the first models going to combat? It's certainly been a well-kept secret.
I wouldn't say that. There's about 50,000 people who know all about it here in England. And, of course, a great many more in America.
Oh, that's impossible.
But I doubt if it will ever be used in combat.
You're stark raving crackers. A secret like it. Where did you find this? Now, let me see that.
There you are.
Incredible science fiction.
It's an American magazine.
You mean this is a story, one of those Jules Verne things? You've been pulling my leg.
Aye?
Well, I mean, after all... Well, Captain Mackenzie, I hardly think that... Well...
Now, don't get stuffy, man.
After all, to chaff me before the ranks.
I don't mind, sir.
But it did have you going, didn't it?
Well, it sounded plausible. I don't know a confounded thing about electrical fields.
Even if you did, it might take you in, huh? You see, the trick these science fiction labs do is to take something that's solid as a rock and then to push it just a wee bit forward till you simply can't tell where the science ends and the fiction begins.
Still, I wish you'd exercise your ingenuity in deceiving Jerry rather than me.
Good Lord. That's a fine idea.
What is?
If an intelligent, brilliant officer and gentleman like yourself might be taken in by a wild tale like this, whom else's leg might we pull? Huh? Muggeridge, another bread and butter sandwich, if you please, and take one yourself.
Lieutenant Withering and Captain Mackenzie worked out preliminary plans for Project Trojan and presented them at an appropriate time to Colonel Sir Harold Bostwick.
Sit down, Withering, Mackenzie.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Have you had breakfast? I understand Corporal Magridge has been playing darts with the Yanks again. There are fresh eggs for breakfast.
We've had breakfast, sir.
Oh, well, then.
We have a plan, sir.
Huh? Oh, capital.
You remember, sir, our intelligence reports indicated a concentration of German research scientists working near Hanau.
Certainly, I recall. They've got the whole lot of them inside a mountain. We tried bombing. I doubt if they even noticed.
They're supplying the basic research for the German guided missile program.
Yes, we know that. The reaction motor for the V1s came out of the Hanau lab. Oh, Magridge!
You see, sir, if a considerable number of those research scientists were diverted to another project, the rocket program would be crippled.
Yes, well, of course it would. What are you going to do? Advertise in the Times and offer them high wages?
I said...
Oh, Magridge, this coffee.
No, sir.
Next time you go to the Crown and Lance, keep coffee in mind, will you?
Aye, sir. Only the Yanks are getting fair dives at darts. It was touch and go with the Yanks.
Oh, we can only expect you to do your best.
I'll try, sir.
Well, now, come to the point, gentlemen.
Suppose the Germans got hold of one of our top new development weapons. Something so completely overwhelming that they'd have to pull almost every man off rockets to work on it.
Now, look here, Mackenzie. Those Jerry scientists are not exactly playing about with small boys' chemistry sets. They're a cut above our own chaps in several fields. What makes you think you could plant something on them?
Science fiction, sir.
I beg your pardon?
You see this magazine?
Yes, incredible science fiction. What's that chasing that girl there?
That's a Martian, sir. You can tell by his tentacles.
Mackenzie, are you stringing this along preliminary to applying for compassionate leave on the grounds that you're overworked?
No, sir. It's a good plan. We invent a weapon that might exist but doesn't. And we leave it lying about where the Germans can snap it.
And then they take most of the scientist fellows off the rocket program to work on our weapon.
And that's the most preposterous nonsense I've ever heard.
But, sir...
I don't want to hear anything more about it.
Yes, sir. I suppose she was right.
Who was right?
This Wren. I met her going up to London. Rather proper little type till you got to know her. But then she's rather a firebrand.
Captain Mackenzie, please spare us the sordid details of your off-duty peculation.
Sorry, sir. You see, she's the secretary to Admiral Sir Alan Grummins. They're talking of dropping this unit. They feel that other intelligence groups are quite competent to handle the routine, unimaginative work that we've been doing.
Oh, I see.
Of course, they'd reassign personnel.
Mm-hmm. Would you say this science fiction scheme of yours was imaginative?
Oh, it's practically visionary.
Well, suppose you do some preliminary work.
Thank you, sir.
Routine, eh? Unimaginative, eh? Bah!
On the 14th of February, preliminary work was begun on Project Trojan. At first, Lieutenant Withering and Captain Mackenzie worked alone, researching the source material of the project.
Slamming the firing keys, brick blasted down on the Krull warship. Bright beams of crisp destruction lanced out from the giant dreadnought and licked along the plates of Brick's one-man scout.
Nothing in that one.
What have you got?
It's a story about two robots who fall in love.
What's the name of that Johnny who came closest?
Herman. Jad Herman.
He got half a dozen ideas that are close. Where do you suppose he is?
Somewhere in the States, I suppose.
That's no use, then.
Why? Look, man, perhaps we can put a query through Central Chafe Intelligence. The Yanks ought to be able to dig up this Herman chap for us.
No. It's worth a try.
It took 7 days for a report to reach IPC that one Jacob David Herman, a private first class in the American Air Force, was based on a field north of Cheltenham in the Gloucestershire area. Lieutenant Withering and Captain Mackenzie requisitioned transport and visited Herman at his place of duty.
You don't mind if I go ahead with my job, do you? I gotta have this place ready for inspection by 1300.
Go right ahead.
Hand me the cleaning powder, will you, please?
Yes. Very well.
What do they put in porcelain in England? You break your arm trying to get it clean.
Private Herman. You are Jad Herman, writer?
Yeah, that's a pen name, Jad. I use it for SF stuff. I used to write for the Confessions under the name of Cynthia Herman. I remember one article. I was saved by the YWCA from a life of shame.
We're interested in your science fiction articles at the moment.
Oh, yeah? Well, I know we had some sci-fi fans in England.
But we're not exactly sci-fi fans. We're from Is anybody else here?
Well, look for yourself. There's no hiding place down here.
Well, we are from Intelligence Plans Commission.
Uh-huh.
We need your assistance, Mr. Herman.
No kidding.
We have a project that calls for your particular talents.
You got a latrine needs cleaning?
We're quite serious, Mr. Herman. Will you kindly pack your things and be ready to come with us within 1 hour?
Oh, I'm sorry, gentlemen. I couldn't possibly leave until after inspection. I've got too much of myself invested in this latrine. But after that, I'm at your service.
Private First Class Jacob D. Herman, 329-62126, was transferred on special detached duty to Project Trojan, and after briefing was set to work on basic plans.
Oh, look, Mac, here's the way I see it. If you want to con a scientist, you got to be pretty straight all the way. You can't get away with more than one phony step in the process.
Precisely.
Now, here's the way I see it. It's a focusing beam weapon. The electronics on that is square. I used it in a story about 2 years ago. Feinschreiber at MIT and Temple and Westover at the Bell Telephone Laboratories worked out the basic field formulas.
I mean, it's real.
Well, up to a point. Everything's on the level till you get to the catalytic action on the grid. Now, that just won't work. It's a basic problem in physics, and it makes the whole thing impossible.
But don't the Germans know that?
Oh, sure. You see, you make up plans for the weapon, call it a death ray. You let the Germans steal everything but the catalyst formula. They'll think we've got it licked, and they'll break their necks trying to duplicate it before we put the weapon in production.
I see. But we can't call it a death ray.
Well, how about projector, electronic grid deflecting type 3?
That has a broad ring to it, my lad.
I've got the basic idea of the thing, but you'll have to get some of your science boys to work it out.
Oh, we'll put a requisition into the Manpower Commission in the morning.
Doctors Montague, Felder, Harrison, Seisenby, and Pilsudski were assigned to Project Trojan, and under the direction of Private First Class Jacobs, complete specifications and plans for projector electronic grid deflecting type 3 were drawn up. Project Trojan was ready for Phase 2.
Have we got everything? Blueprints?
Check.
Specifications?
Check.
Machine tool inventories?
Check.
Letter rejecting the plans from the War Office?
Check.
Endorsement from Supreme Headquarters rejecting plans?
Check.
Note from 10 Downing Street overriding rejections, handwritten postscript, build the confounded thing, WC.
Check. Don't you think that's going a little too far, the rejections?
Not at all. That's the master touch. A rejection of an idea by the War Office makes it appear most genuine. All right. Private Herman, if this thing were real, if it could be built, what would it do?
Oh, don't ask. You could blow a hole in a mountain 10 miles away. Well, you could knock down a whole wing of bombers without even aiming.
Oh, dear. Lucky it won't work.
I should say so. Oh, well, now to get this lovely thing into Jerry's hands.
Phase 3 of Project Trojan was commenced on the 15th of March, 1943. Central Counterintelligence Agency had discovered the infiltration of a German agent, a Belfast Irishman named Gogarty, into the Blueprint Division of Clark and Porchester, a printing firm doing some subcontract work for the Air Ministry. Gogarty, the German agent, presumably microfilmed the plans because shortly thereafter he received word that his sister, living in the Irish Free State, was to be married to a bus conductor. British agents attending the wedding disguised as farm laborers lost track of Gogarty for several hours due to circumstances beyond their control.
Then we have no way of knowing whether Gogarty delivered the Project Trojan plans.
Well, sir, there was a submarine sighted the day before off the coast. It's likely he made contact.
Well, keep me informed. That's all we need now, another disaster.
Did something else go wrong?
No, jolly well right. Muggeridge has been playing darts with the Yanks again.
Oh? What have we got this time? Butter or beefsteak?
Nothing. The blight has lost my whole month's whiskey ration.
Now the cover operation supporting Project Trojan was undertaken. A battalion of the Royal Engineers was detailed to practice at secret installations with wooden mock-ups of the projector. A lance corporal in this detachment a volunteer afterwards awarded the George Medal, was court-martialed and sentenced to 7 years hard labor for revealing information about the project while drunk on a 3-day leave to Tynecastle. This particular aspect of Project Trojan has been in the news recently, inasmuch as several backbench Labour members of Parliament have asked questions in the House, as it came out that the corporal served the full 7 years and wasn't released until 1951. The Home Secretary explained that this was an unfortunate oversight, and there were jeers from the opposition, with Mr. Anoyden Bevan taking the occasion to call for the resignation of the government. At the time, March and April 1943, the Intelligence Plans Commission awaited reports from British operatives.
Sir, there's been a shift in assignment at the research laboratories at Hanau. Professor Schlickmann and Doctors Hirsch, Van Sulau, and Grishman have been transferred from rocket research to another project.
Trojan?
We must assume so.
But that's only 4 men.
But they're the top experts in electronics, chemistry, and metallurgy. If they're really working on Trojan, we've set the German rocket program back a year, while their scientists go yelping off after a red herring.
Well, let's hope so. Bring me any further reports as soon as received.
British intelligence reports, filtering back through occupied Norway and neutral Sweden, continued to indicate the success of Project Trojan. 4 more top scientists were known to be transferred from the rocket research base at Peenemünde to the Hanau laboratories. Definite knowledge was obtained that the new assignment was a startling new weapon, agreeing in detail with Project Trojan.
What a sally, Mackenzie. What a stunt.
Yes, sir.
We shall have to have a little party to celebrate. We'll have that Herman chap in for a drink. I've been sending Muggeridge off to play darts with some of the Free French over at Germain Manor. He ought to be back soon with the champagne. Pour all round. Private Herman?
Thank you.
All right now, to the projector, electronic grid deflecting type 3. The biggest fraud since the South Sea bubble.
Colonel Bostwick.
Oh, Withering, take a glass. We're just drinking to Trojan.
Well, I think I'd rather not, sir.
Well, what do you mean?
There's a dispatch from Germany.
What about it?
A section of the mountain overlooking Hanau has disappeared.
What?
It's true. It was on the reconnaissance maps yesterday, and it was gone this morning. A 10-mile slice of mountain.
That's impossible.
Oh, it isn't. It works. Trojan works.
But it can't. There's no catalyst. It's impossible. All our scientists said so.
Well, I guess they were wrong. It works.
They must have found the catalyst.
I suppose we should have foreseen that. All those scientists working on it.
They must have built the model and tried it out.
It won't take them more than 3 months to put it into production.
Well, there goes the war.
Muggeridge.
Aye, sir.
Fill the glasses up again.
Intelligence Plans Commission now waited for additional dispatches concerning the reaction to Project Trojan in Germany. It was decided as a matter of policy to confine knowledge of these latest developments to the personnel of the project.
Anything new, Mackenzie?
No, sir, except that aerial reconnaissance confirms the damage to the mountain at Hanau. It's not quite as extensive as the first dispatch, but it is a bit of a hole.
Oh, what do they think caused it?
The Air Ministry seems to feel that an ammunition dump must have blown up.
Couldn't that be it?
I'm afraid not, sir. We have an intelligence report about several captured British and American tanks being brought to Hanau for testing. They were spotted the next day, completely destroyed.
Trojan?
Trojan. There's been an alert at factories producing parts for V1 and V2 rockets to prepare for retooling.
They're going to make the projector?
It would seem so, sir.
Well, I suppose I'd better go up to London tomorrow and make a clean breast of it.
I'm afraid so, sir.
Well, that's the end. Seems rather unsporting, doesn't it? Just handing the war over to them. I hate to think what the War Office will say. Not to mention the Prime Minister.
Project Trojan was nearing its closing phase. At precisely 0600 the next morning, Colonel Sir Harold Bostwick ordered his staff car and, taking a thermos of tea, proceeded to leave his office. Just before the staff car got underway, Lieutenant Withering appeared with another dispatch, accompanied by Captain Mackenzie and Private Herman.
Colonel Bostwick, sir. Wait.
So what is it, Withering?
Another dispatch.
No, don't, please. It's bad enough.
There's been another disaster at Hanau.
They knocked another mountain with our little present to them?
No, sir. They've knocked themselves out. What? The laboratory under the mountain. It's exploded. It has?
Went up like a Roman candle. We've got pictures. There was a flight of mosquito bombers over at the time.
What happened? The projector. It backfired. How do you know?
It had to. That's why the catalyst is impossible. You see, the metal fatigue on the grid is a function of...
Never mind. Are you sure? Yes, sir. We have a reliable agent's report. The Germans are completely confused. They were operating the projector under a top-secret designation. Nobody knew any of the details except a dozen scientists working on it. And they were inside the laboratory when it blew. Our man was in the rescue squad. There isn't a thing left, sir. Plans, models, or scientists.
Sir, do you realize that Project Trojan was a success? We've diverted a dozen top scientists from the rocket program permanently. Well, do you think we'll be decorated?
Lieutenant Withering, inasmuch as we came particularly close to handing the whole war to the Germans on a silver platter, I suggest we forget Project Trojan.
Oh, yes. Yes, I see. Of course.
You're very canny, sir.
I think we had all better return to precisely what we were doing before the whole nasty mess started.
The final phase of Project Trojan was completed on the 22nd of March, 1943. The file, through some inadvertent error, was lost before the Intelligence Plans Commission had a chance to report to the War Office. All personnel returned to their previous assignments.
All right. No splashing on the floor. I gotta get this latrine ready for inspection by 1300.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features the William Tenn novelette, Time in Advance, the story of a man who made a strange bargain and endured the worst the galaxy had to offer, so that someday he could make the Earth sweat. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Project Trojan, an original story by Ernest Kenoy based on an idea contained in an editorial in Galaxy written by H.L. Gold. Featured in the cast were Burford Hampton, Alastair Duncan, Ivor Francis, Alfred Shirley, Bill Quinn, and your narrator was Alfred Hislop. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
And now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, Wherever You May Be, by James E. Gunn.
Hey, you. A little girl. You on the fence.
Yeah?
Hey, kid, come here.
Well, I'm right comfortable where I am.
Listen, kid. Is there a service station on this road?
Well, Well, Merv Wheelock got a gas pump at the general store.
Oh? How far is it?
About 18 miles.
Oh, that's a big help. Well, I don't know what else to expect in the middle of the Ozarks.
You want me to help you, mister?
No, just keep out of the way, kid. Ow! Well, there's nothing funny about that. You just gonna sit there and watch me sweat, kid?
Oh, no. There'll be lots more to watch.
Well, I don't know what's so amusing about watching a man change a flat tire. Ow!
You sure you don't want me to help, mister?
No, I'm perfectly capable of changing a tire by myself.
Look out, mister. It's rolling away.
What?
Your tire. It's rolling away.
Hey, come back here, you. Well, this is the most sadistic tire I ever... Now, stay put. Why don't you go home?
Can't.
Why not?
I run away.
Oh, well, that's tough. There. Now, listen, kid. You know a cabin about 15 miles up the road?
I reckon.
You know where the turnoff is?
There ain't no turnoff. You just drive till the road peters out and you take the footpath. You gonna live in that place?
Mm-hmm. Just for the summer.
Oh.
Well, so long, kid.
Oh, mister. Hey, mister.
Now what do you want?
Well, nothing. Only you forgot your jack.
Oh, that does it. Where are you going?
No place.
Thought you said you ran away.
I surely did.
Don't you have any relatives?
No.
Friends?
No.
All right, then, go on home. Oh, come on now. What are you crying for? All right, get in. I'll give you a lift. Now, listen, look out for those notes. There's over a year's work in those.
Oh, a year's work in them pieces of paper?
Uh-huh. Those are notes for the thesis I'm going to write.
You write stories?
No, research paper. I have to do it to get my degree at the university.
Well, what's it called? I mean the story you're writing.
It's called The Psychodynamics of Witchcraft with special reference to the Salem trials of 1692.
Oh. Witches?
Yeah. All right, where do you live, kid?
Well, I can't go home. Pa'd beat me again. Oh, he pretty nigh skinned me alive, I guess.
You mean he hit you? Little kid like you?
Well, he don't use his fists. Not often. He uses his belt mostly. Look here. On my knee. See that black and blue mark? And this one?
Never mind. Why does he hit you?
He's just mean.
Oh, he must have some reason.
Oh, he wants me to catch some strong young fellow who do the work around the place. A gal don't bring in no money, he says. Leastwise, not a good one.
You're much too young to get married.
I'm 16.
You don't look more than... Well, I don't know.
Most girls my age got a couple of young ones. One, anyway. The way Pa carries on, you'd think I didn't want to get married. Now, it ain't my fault no fellow wants me.
What seems to be the trouble?
Mostly, I guess I'm just unlucky. One fella I went with pretty nearly a year. He busted his leg. Another nigh well drowned when he fell in the lake. Now, it don't seem right they should blame me, even though we did have words.
Blame you?
Well, they say it's courting disaster instead of a gal. Fellas just stop coming round. You married, Mr.
Matthew Wright. No, I'm not married.
Wright. Abigail Wright. That's right, Purdy.
Abigail Wright?
Oh, did I say that? Now, ain't that funny? My name's Jenkins.
Mr. Jenkins? Oh, fine. I met your daughter on the road. I brought her back. Look, Mr. Jenkins, I got a pint bottle in my pocket. Care for a little drink?
Terrible week.
Well, I'm I'm sorry. I repeat, I brought your daughter back.
Why?
Well, she had no place to go.
She ran away.
Now, look, Mr. Jenkins, I realize that teenage daughters can be a nuisance, and after meeting your daughter, I can understand how you feel. Still in all, she is your daughter.
Got my doubts.
Now, Mr. Jenkins, your daughter may have given you good reason to lose your temper, but beating a child is never sound psychology.
Beat her? You mean wallop her, whale her? Man, I never laid a hand to her. I dasn't.
But she said...
Come in here.
Oh, now, Mr. Jenkins, I assure you...
Come in the cabin. You look around this here room, mister. See them dishes all over the floor, those chairs all splintered like they was kindling, that table turned over bottom side topmost like a turtle on the road? You think I beat her?
Well, the place is a shambles.
I ain't saying Abby did it. But when she gets unhappy, things happen. Dishes come flying through the air. Funny things happen around Ab. Ever since she started filling out 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, she's only 16.
16? Don't let on I told you, but she's past 18. There, you see?
Oh, it just fell off the shelf.
Well, look, you're a city fella, passable looking. Why don't you take her with you?
What? Oh, now, wait a minute, Mr. Jenkins.
But she's right pretty when she fixes up, and she can cook right smart. Go on, take her.
Well, you must be mad. You can't give a girl away like that. If you'll excuse me, I think I'd better be going.
Nobody asked you to bring her back. The gal eats more than I do.
Oh, now, look, here. Here's $10. Buy yourself a jug.
Well, I'd like to, but I can't do it. It ain't worth it. You brought her back. You can take her away.
Oh, here's 15.
Well, I should know better. All right, mister.
I'll get her.
It ain't no use, though, I can tell you, mister.
All right, Abigail. Get out of the car. You're home.
But, Pa...
Oh, he isn't mad at you. He's welcoming you back. Now, come on, get out.
Dirty, nasty old man. Serving right if that bottle he's pulling busted right over his head.
Goodbye, Abby. And remind me never to see you again. All alone. I'm so all alone. There is no...
Hello.
What are you doing here?
Waiting for you.
But listen, this is my cabin. I rented it.
I know. What kept you?
Well, what are you doing here? How did you get here?
Oh, I reckon you're hungry. Look, why don't you sit down? Supper's about ready.
Now, wait a minute. I came here by car. How did you get here?
Well, I rode. Oh, it's lucky I did. This place needed a good sweeping.
Is that your broom?
I know. It was here in the cabin. Pa loaned me a mule. I let her go. She'll get home all right.
But you can't stay here. It's impossible. What would people say?
Well, who'd care? Pa don't. Oh, please, Mr. Wright, let me cook and clean for you. I won't be no trouble. Honest, I wouldn't.
Oh, now, look, Abby, you're a nice girl, and I like you, but you'll just have to go back to your father. Do you understand?
All right.
What? What was that? What happened? Oh, look at that, the car. I must have left the brake off.
You reckon it's hurt bad?
Well, rolling down a 10-foot grade into a tree didn't help it any.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Wright.
Are you? Well, anyway, it looks like you'll have to stay here tonight then, doesn't it?
I reckon.
I could have sworn I put that brake on. Listen, you're going back first thing in the morning.
Oh, sure. Sure, Mr. Wright. I understand.
Abby, tell me something. Who wrecked your father's house?
Libby.
Libby, huh? Who's Libby?
The other me. Mostly I keep her bottled up inside. But when I feel sad and unhappy, I just can't keep her in. Then she just lets loose and goes wild.
Schizo. Abby, where did you get an idea like that?
Well, when I was born, I had a twin sister. Only she died real quick. And when I was bad, my ma used to say Libby would never have been mean or cross or naughty. So when I'd done something bad, I started saying Libby done it. I guess after a while, I've begun to believe it myself.
Can you control it, Abby?
Not much. You see, when I get feeling mad and mean, things just happen, that's all.
How about a rolling tire?
You sure did look funny. Oh, I was just feeling mean about Pa, I guess, and I took it out on you.
I don't believe it. It's absolutely impossible. It's primitive. It's straight out of Fraser's Golden Bough. There's got to be some explanation. Illusion or hypnosis. There's got to be some physical explanation.
Well, I don't see why. I mean, if a thing just happens, you don't have to explain it. It's just there, ain't it?
All right. Here. Now, make that cup move.
Why?
I want to see you do it.
But I don't want to. I never wanted to do it. It just happened.
Oh, come on, try.
Now, no, Mr. Wright. Look, it never brung me nothing but misery. It's bad enough when you can't help it, but it's worse when you do it on purpose. Nothing good will come of it.
Come on, try. I want you to move that cup. Now, go ahead, Abby. Just move it without touching it.
I can't. I just can't.
Why not? Why can't you?
I don't know. I guess it's because I'm happy.
Oh. You can't move it now.
No.
All right, then get your things. You're going back to your father right now.
No, I ain't going. I can't.
Listen to you. You're a stupid backwoods girl. Can't. What kind of a way of talking is that? You're going back to your father because you're an ignorant, dirty hillbilly. Abby, you did it. You did it. It came right at my head.
Do I have to go back?
Oh, no, sir. Not if you help me. Abby, I've got a hold of something here that... What a thesis! Abby? What's, courting like here in the hills?
Oh, sometimes we walk and look at things together and talk a little. But if the night is warm, we just sit and hold hands and whatever.
Like this?
Mr. Wright, do you like me a little bit? Oh, not marrying like, but friendly like?
I like you very much, Abby. Very much.
Oh, Mr. Wright. You kiss real pretty.
Abby, what happened to your fellas? I mean, the other boys.
Well, folks said I'd the evil eye. I mean, Hank fell off the roof and broke his leg, and Gene, well, he fell in the lake and liked to drown. It wasn't my fault it was after we'd had words, now was it?
No.
Mr. Wright, you're shivering. Maybe we'd better go get your jacket.
Abby, tomorrow we're going to drive to Springfield to do some shopping.
Really, Mr. Wright? Why, I ain't never been to Springfield. Oh, ain't that wonderful? Mr. Wright.
Oh. Are you happy, Abby?
Oh, it's the happiest I've ever been in my life. I mean, eating in a fancy restaurant and even dancing and all. And now us just sitting here together in the moonlight. I never thought anything like this would happen to me.
Abby, I'm afraid maybe you don't understand.
Well, what do you mean, Mr. Wright?
Oh, you know that dress I bought you? That's for another girl.
What?
Oh, it's for another girl. I'm going to marry her. She's about your size, and I thought we could pick it out that way.
Oh, no, Oh, Mr. Wright.
Abby, wait a minute. Where are you going? Wait, I want to talk to you.
No, I'm going to bed.
Matthew Wright, you are a no-good, miserable cad.
You want any more coffee?
You still feel bad, Abby?
You want me to move that cup for you today? I can do it real good.
How do you know?
Well, I just got a feeling. Look.
You can do it now?
Sure, I guess. There, it's getting easier.
Look, Abby, I want to get some things out of the car. I just happen to have them things for tests. There may be other powers.
Well, I don't care much one way or the other, Mr. Wright. If it makes you happy, it's all right with me.
Abby? Abby, where are you? Abby, where did you go? Abby?
Here I am, Mr. Wright.
Abby, where were you?
Springfield.
But that's 50 miles.
I know. I just kind of wished I was there, and then I was. I brought back a frying pan I admired in that hardware store window. Ain't it pretty? Got a real copper bottom.
Didn't you have any trouble getting out of the store without anyone seeing you?
Well, I was outside, but I could see in the back room somehow, too. I knew his name was Albert, and he was doing a crossword puzzle.
Now, how could you tell all that?
Well, I just kind of looked inside of his thinking. Like this.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Abby, don't.
I could look right inside your thinking now, Mr. Wright.
Abby, wait a minute. Abby?
You wouldn't. You didn't.
Now, wait a minute, Abby. You've got to understand.
I understand everything you've been thinking, you devil. Well, there ain't nothing too bad for anyone to do that.
Well, you've got to let me explain.
You with your kindness and your city manners. How could you do it? You made me fall in love with you. It was just a trick. You just wanted to make me unhappy, that's all. Why, even Pa was never that mean. I'd as soon marry up with a rattlesnake.
Well, Abby, what are you going to do?
Well, I haven't made up my mind yet. But I'll think of something.
Well, I've got to think of some way out of it. She's in that other room thinking what to do to me. I've got to think of some way. No, it's no use. As soon as I think of it, she knows. Oh, got to keep my mind busy. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as maybe if I could get her father. No. If there are 2 outs and bases loaded, or men on first and second, and a ball is hit, which, in the opinion of the umpire, can be handled by an infielder, the infield fly rule shall be invoked, and the batter is called out. The base runners may advance at their own peril. Their peril. I've got to think. No, I mustn't think. Oh, no, she's absolutely certain now she can do anything she wants to. I've got to act on the spur of the moment, keep my mind crowded with something else. Oh, it's a lovely day. Breathed there a man with soul so dead. 'Twas brillig and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. Froggy went a-courting, and he did ride, sword and pistol by his side, ring Tom Body Michicambo. Full fathom 5 my father lies, of his bones are coral made. Seabirds hourly toll his knell, hark, I hear them, ding-dong dell.
That's pretty.
Abby!
Where are we going?
Oh, Abby. What are you doing here?
I couldn't let you leave without me. I've got plans for you.
Oh?
Very interesting plans.
But how could you tell I left? I was thinking all sorts of other things.
Matt, you were thinking some of the cutest little rhymes. Oh, but that was on top.
On top?
Why, sure. Way underneath, I could hear plain what you were thinking about running away in this old car.
Well, then why didn't you stop me? Conk out the motor or something.
Oh, I didn't want to. I told you I could see way down underneath the top of your thinking. And you know what I found there? All the time, even when you were making me unhappy to test all them strange things I learned how to do, way down deep, you're in love with me.
I am?
Surely true. So, we're going to get married.
Are we?
There isn't much you can do about it now, is there?
No. No, I suppose not, but, it's a frightening thought getting married to you, Abby. A wife who can read your mind and all the rest.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about it, darling. Why, I can only do those things when I'm downright miserable. Everything will be perfectly all right. Just as long as you keep me happy.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Early Model by Robert Sheckley, the story of a man who found that invulnerability was a fine asset when opening a new planet, provided you don't overdo it. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Wherever You May Be, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by James E. Gunn and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were William Redfield, Patsy O'Shea, and Jack Orrison. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Be sure to hear X-1 1/2 hour earlier next week over most NBC radio stations. Check your local newspaper for the exact time. This is the NBC Radio Network.
The strange island of Euclidia becomes more mysterious and terrifying with every discovery Jerry and his friends make on this weird artificial stronghold. Captain Bradford has decided that the seaweed cloth, from which all clothes on the island are made, will keep out all sound and light beams and rays, and is trying to plan a method of using this cloth to aid in their escape. Joan, Mrs. Gregory, Jerry, and Tex were inspecting the cloth factory when the alarm sounded. Someone escaping from the island. Escaping from the very pier where the Gregory yacht is held. Jerry has run off after some of the island men to watch them prepare for the capture of the escaping man.
I wish Jerry had stayed with us. These terrible men may be very angry to find Jerry following them.
You need not worry about that, Mother. Jerry may go with them if he wishes, but he may see someone receive a horrible punishment when they catch the escaping man.
You say when they catch him, not if? Isn't there any chance at all of getting away?
No, Captain Bradford. G47 has been here for many years, and since he started this colony all alone, no one has ever escaped.
Where did the men go, the men Jerry was following?
I think they went down into one of the submarine locks.
Going to use a submarine in the chase, eh? Not much chance for anyone to get away, I guess.
Isn't it strange that everything should be so quiet? Someone is escaping from the island. We heard the alarm. Yet there's no confusion, no soul in sight.
There is never any confusion on Euclidia. Each man and woman on the island have their places and duties for every emergency. They go about their work just as quietly and naturally as you would eat a meal.
This is going to be a hard job, Pap, but we'll find some way to beat them at their own game. Hello, there's Hanson standing on the yacht, waving for us to come to the rail.
Then it must have been someone off the yacht who escaped.
Looks like it. Come on.
Who is this Hanson, Mother?
Our engineer. A fine, steady sailor who's had the motors of my boats for 3 years.
He's all excited about something now. He's pointing at the bridge, then down into the water. It was the skipper then.
Oh.
But what kind of a crazy scheme did he try to put over? The boats are both there. I hope he wasn't wild enough to try to swim for it.
Look, Tex. Hanson has a note in his hand, and his finger to his lips.
He means for the captain to read the note and say nothing.
Yeah, that's what I expect. Well, we'll see. Well, what is it, Hanson? Oh, all right. Yes, I understand. Yes, you did just right. Everything you could have said would probably have been overheard. I'll call if I want you, Hanson. Thanks.
Isn't it strange how loud his footsteps sound on the deck of the yacht, and ours make no sound on the island floor?
Those sounds are very comforting to me, dear. And you will learn to live in our world where natural things make the natural sounds they ought to make. Good, healthy, natural sounds. All this perfection of silence here, it's too much for me.
But I can't tell you what is in this note until I get it under some of their ray-deflecting cloth and show it to you. I'm even afraid to hold it out in the light any longer for fear they have read it. But it's good news. Good old Skipper.
Well, can we take it in the cabin now and discuss it? We have enough of the cloth to screen a room or at least a section of a cabin.
But I want to go back and look for Jerry. The men should be coming back now, and I want to meet that foolish boy before he makes them angry. He will ask too many questions, and that they will not like.
Good idea, Joan. Take your mother with you. Go and find the kid and keep his mouth shut. If he hasn't opened it too far already. I'm going aboard the yacht and do a little figuring on this note.
The alarm again. That means they have not found the one who escaped. They will be sending out another party to search the ocean.
That alarm was 7 strokes. What does that mean?
Another person has escaped near Pier 7, or the one who escaped before has been seen near Pier 7.
That was 10. Does that mean Pier 10, Joan?
Why, yes, but I cannot understand that. There could not be 3 different people escaping from 3 different places at the same time.
And why is that impossible?
Because when the first alarm sounded, everyone on the island except the searchers and our little party would have been locked in their quarters.
Tex, do you know what all this means?
Well, I've got a good idea. Unless I'm mistaken, all the other alarms will ring before they get done. Now, you two try to find Jerry and get him back to the yacht before he does or says anything to get them angry enough to throw him in a cell. I'm going aboard the yacht. You board it and come to the radio cabin as soon as you find Jerry.
I have never known anything like this to happen. What can it be, Mother?
I think the captain has an idea, dear, but you mustn't ask him now, for fear someone might overhear our answers. We'll go, Tex, and report to you just as soon as we find Jerry.
Well, good luck. Now, if I'm only figuring this thing right. Good old Skipper. There's no need to bother with this cloth over my head now. Everyone's too busy running down these alarms to listen for my radio beam. Boy, the old Skipper is sure stirring things up. Now, if I can only raise Johnson while all this hubbub is going on. Oh, of course, I'd have to wait for the set to warm up. Hanson could have gotten that note to me a little quicker. The old boy's got him on the run. But how long he can keep it up remains to be seen.
Calling J24Y. Hello, J24. J12 to J24Y.
Here he is now. Hello, J12. Hello, Johnson. Bradford on J24Y to Johnson. Hello, J12.
I've been trying to get you for an hour, J24. Hello, J24Y. J12 standing by for emergency call. Something wrong your last message. Hello, J24. Hello.
Okay, J12. Listen carefully. Get this right. No time repeat or confirm. Our position correct as given you before. Latitude 29 south. Longitude 124.30 west. Island is colony of mad scientists. Surrounded
Hello,
by
J24.
magnetic belt and radio
J12
beam trap.
Calling J24Y. Johnson to Bradford.
What's the matter, Johnson? Can't you hear me? Your signal is perfect here. Hello, Johnson. Hello, J12.
J12 to J24Y. Calling Bradford on J24Y. Your directional carrier faded an hour ago. No signal from you. Where are you, J24Y?
I'm not getting out. Something wrong with this set. Yeah, the skipper is keeping them entertained, but it won't do any good if I can't get through here pretty quick. Hello, J12. J12. This is Bradford on J24Y. Can you hear me, J12?
You can hear me. J12 signing off. have several private phone stations trying to reach you. If you can hear this and need aid, get message to land station for cable relay. J12 standing by.
Oh, he's gone, and he couldn't even hear my signal. That sounds like the search might be all over, and our one chance is gone.
You had no chance. Did you give me so little credit as to think I would leave your radio beam open just because some silly fool wanted to experiment with my punishment for attempted escape? Your directional beam is being completely absorbed by our metallic blanket. You may speak to me through your radio. If you can think of anything intelligent to say...
I have nothing to say.
You at least have that much intelligence, and for your satisfaction, I might add that your skipper is now my prisoner.
What are you going to do with him?
You will never see him again. Now, your friends are about to enter your cabin, bringing with them enough of the cloth you want so badly that you may line your council chamber with it. You may talk without fear of my hearing you, and plan more of your silly attempts to escape. But please do not compel me to remind you again of the stupidity of trying to use your radio.
I'll get that fellow someday, but it's my last act.
Oh, Tex, I've just heard the most terrible thing. Was that the skipper who tried to escape?
Yes, Pat. What happened to him?
They turned the full power of all the current on the island into the screens at the end of the piers. A man swimming within 100 feet of the ends of those piers would be paralyzed and drown at once.
That's bad. For the moment, I'll have to ask you to forget it and help me rig up a screen of this cloth we have, big enough for the three of us to talk under at once. I have some news, too. Use the porthole screws and the backs of the chairs. Lay some on the floor. I've got to talk to you at once.
Will this be all right if I put some over here, Captain?
That's the idea.
We're almost hemmed in now. The floor is covered.
The radio panel will do for this side. Not much air in here, but what I have to say won't take long.
How can we hold it over our heads?
I guess we'll have to do just that. Hold it.
All right. There isn't a speck of light coming in any place now. Now listen closely while I tell you what happened.
Yes.
The skipper staged that escape so I could have a chance to use this radio without being overheard.
What?
That was what the note said that Hansen gave me.
And did you use the radio?
Yes, and the only one who heard me was G47. Oh. I should have known he would intercept my beam.
Did you get any of your message through, Captain?
Not a word of it. I could hear Johnson trying to call me all the time, but he couldn't even get my signal.
Oh, then it was all useless. And the skipper... Oh, Tex, I feel so badly about that. He was a fine man and a grand friend of ours.
Yeah, keep your chin up, Pat. That's the one bright spot in the whole thing.
But, Captain, the skipper must have been killed. They always are when they try to swim through the electric net.
Yes, but the skipper didn't try to do that. He merely used my air rifle. Doesn't make a sound. And he shot through the portholes here so he wouldn't be seen.
Well.
Shot pieces of steel wire at the ends of all the piers at range the gun would reach.
No.
He knew those metal pieces striking the water would set off the magnetic alarm.
Then where is he?
Safe in a locker down on the keel. G47 tried to bluff me about having the skipper a prisoner, so they haven't located him. We can smuggle this cloth and food to him. We've got one more on our sides than they know anything about.
Oh, that is fine, Captain.
That almost makes up for the radio message not getting through. We've got a man whom G47 thinks is missing, and we may be able to use him in many ways. Good old skipper.
Now, with this cloth, we may be able to do something with an idea Jerry had. Say, where is Jerry?
Why, we thought he had come here to you.
We saw the searching party return.
And Jerry wasn't with him?
No, Tex. He wasn't.
Oh, Mother, I am afraid for Jerry.
On the strange island of Euclidia, the magic island of the South Seas, is being enacted one of the weirdest dramas ever seen by man. When Mrs. Gregory brought Captain Tex Bradford and Jerry Hall on her yacht to find her long-lost little daughter Joan, none of them dreamed that the island would be anything like it's been found to be. This artificial island is the headquarters of a group of mad scientists. The Gregory yacht is held powerless at one of the island piers, and Mrs. Gregory and her brave friends try to plan their escape from the island. Just when it seems they have a ray of hope, Jerry disappears.
Are you sure that you saw Jerry follow those scientists in the submarine lock when they went to look for the escaping prisoner, or what they thought was an escaping prisoner?
We watched him carefully. You saw him go into that elevator, didn't you, John?
Yes, Mother. Jerry obviously went into the entrance to the submarine chamber elevators. He could have gone no other place.
But what happened to him? If he went down there with those men, why didn't he come back with them?
Oh, Captain Bradford, there might be so many answers to that.
Joan, dear, you don't think they would harm Jerry?
If Jerry got in their way or made them angry, they might punish him in ways that... Oh, Mother, I do not want to talk about such things.
Can't we do something, Tex? Must we just sit here on this helpless yacht and wonder what's happened to that boy?
We would not be allowed to do anything if we tried to.
I'm afraid Joan's right, Pat. I think G-47 and his mad crew have even worse things on this island than Joan has told us about. We couldn't find Jerry unless they want us to. If we insist too hard on anything, it may mean the lives of all of us. And it certainly would mean the end of our chance of escape.
But, Tex, dear, we have no chance to escape as it is.
I think, Captain Tex, that no one will ever escape from Euclidia until G-47 wills it so.
Well, don't be too sure of that. I'll admit it looks bad enough right now. But there's two things to remember. The first one is, I've got a formula these scientists know something of, and they're afraid of it.
What is the formula, Captain?
Tex wouldn't dare tell you now, Joan. Of course, we think we're safe in talking with this cloth screen around us, but how can we be sure this cloth is absolutely opaque to all the waves and rays these fiends control to watch over our movements with?
You may be sure of that, Mother. I know that these men would trust their lives to that cloth. It will successfully refract every light and sound wavelength on the island.
Well, if you're sure of that, Joan, then you can be sure that one of these days we'll get away from Euclidia.
How can that seaweed cloth mean all that, Tex?
I'm not thinking so much of the material as I am of the fluid they soak it in. They do put it in the liquid, you said, Joan?
Yes, Captain. When it is manufactured in the noisy machines I showed you, it is just a cloth made from seaweed. It is a fine and strong and good cloth, but it is not protected against these rays until it has been immersed in the secret liquid preparation.
What are you trying to arrive at, Tex?
Well, I'm going to take a chance on our being safe in here and figure that we can work out a plan without being overheard. After all, we must all understand just what we expect to do. Now, here are 2 points necessary to our rescue.
You mean our escape?
No, I mean rescue. I'm ready to concede that escape is absolutely impossible. So that leaves rescue as our only hope.
But, Captain Bradford, surely you must realize that rescue is also impossible.
On the contrary, dear. We have some things in our world that you know little about. All we need is to get a message through to the government of our country, any civilized country, and a fleet of battleships and airplanes would destroy this island within an hour after they had sighted it.
No, Mother dear, you are mistaken. Your battleships would mean nothing here.
Tex, do you realize what Joan means? Is it possible?
Not only possible, but probably a very conservative statement of a plain fact.
A battle fleet helpless? But how? With what?
I haven't been able to find out yet. Probably we'll never see all the weapons here. But I know without seeing them, this colony of scientific criminals could undoubtedly destroy any war machines a civilized world could send against them.
You are right, Captain. G-47 and the Euclideans have ray guns, no larger than a man's arm, which will destroy a battleship with only a little crying sound.
What is the range of these rays?
I am not sure, but they will not shoot accurately as far as one of the large rifles on your battleship.
There you are, Tex. The heavy armored ships could stay out of range of those ray guns and shell the island.
Yes, and their projectiles would fall all around the island and never touch it. How is a metal projectile, fired at long range and high trajectory, going to enter an area so magnetized that a large boat is held powerless by magnetism? No, there's no help to be expected from that quarter.
And a weapon which might penetrate the defense here could not be brought within range. It would be destroyed.
Then it's just about hopeless, isn't it, Tex?
No, it's going to be hard, but not hopeless.
I don't see what you can be thinking of. We haven't any weapons I ever heard of which would destroy this place, and you admit our battleships and planes would be useless.
Do you know of something in your country which will destroy Euclidia? Something which will rescue us from this terrible island?
Yes, Joan, I do. Just how it can be used and how we are to get word to our friends that we want them to attack and use this weapon, those are things we've got to figure out.
What do you propose to use, Tex?
My formula.
But no one knows the formula except yourself. You would have to send the formula to someone, and how can we do that? We can't even use the radio without G-47 hearing it.
And he would get the formula if you attempted to give it to your friends through the air channel.
Yes, I know that, but there must be some way to get that formula to the government chemist in some civilized capital, and we'll find out what that way is.
But what is the formula, Captain? I know that G47 wants it. It was for that reason he allowed your yacht to reach this island and my mother to find me. What is your wonderful formula, Captain?
I couldn't tell you that. It would be too dangerous. Even if the seaweed cloth does protect us from sight and sound waves, and even if G47 didn't actually hear me tell you the formula, it would expose you to added danger.
Don't you see, my dear? If you knew the formula, G47 might torture you to get it from you. Tex has protected Jerry and me the same way. No one in the world knows the formula but the captain. And everyone knows that he alone has it, so the rest of us are safe in that way.
I did not mean to tell me the ingredients of the formula, but just what it will do. G47 knows that much about it now.
Yes, I thought so. And G47 knows a great deal about my formula. Well, enough of that. We'd better be thinking about Jerry and what we can do for him.
We can do nothing, only wait. Wait until it pleases G47 to allow Jerry to return to us.
Is this true, Tex? With all your knowledge of science, all my money and influence, and all our friends in the world out there, we must just sit quietly while a mad scientist does as he pleases with one of our party?
Yes, I guess that's about right. Here we are, sitting in a cloth room within a little cabin, trying to plan an escape from the most powerful man the world of science has produced.
I wish Jerry were here. You do not understand the terrible things that could happen to him here on this island.
Don't you think we ought to go and look for him, Tex?
I'm sorry, but I don't. Whatever has happened to the boy, it's something G47 has planned to have happen to him. And for the sake of ourselves, our rescue, and possibly the safety of many others, we've got to keep quiet and let G47 do as he pleases. I think there's no danger of his hurting Jerry, or any of us, unless...
J12.
Unless he gets my formula, then...
J12C calling J24Y. Hello, J24.
There's Johnson.
Hello, J24Y. Hello, Bradford. J12C standing by. Your last message received and logged. Your position 29 south, 124.30 west. Can't understand why no signal from you, since I warned you of storm center at 27 degrees south. We'll be standing by when possible. Johnson standing by.
Good old Johnson. He'll get to us some way. He knows that I would have the receiver standing open if possible. It won't be long until we have a friend within striking distance.
Hey there. What's the idea of the tent?
Oh, it's Jerry.
Come inside the little tent, Jerry, and be careful not to leave any opening.
Boy, have I had a time, and have I seen things.
They didn't hurt you, did they, son?
No, not yet. But they showed me plenty of things they could hurt me with if they wanted to. I've been in their local observation chamber, looking through the instruments that let you see everything on the island, and inside it, too.
Could you see us in here?
No, sir. This cloth is the real stuff. I could see through every other place on the yacht, but this cabin just showed as a black square. We couldn't see or hear anything you were doing here, but we could see the skipper.
Oh, then our plan to keep the skipper in hiding is blown up.
I was of the opinion that it would do no good to hide him in the hold of the boat without this cloth to cover him.
No wonder they weren't more worried about his escape attempt. And of course they gave up looking for him just as soon as their instruments located him on the yacht.
I guess they let me see all that, just so it would scare us out of not trying any more tricks on them.
Well, we're going to try one more, just the same. You're sure we can talk freely here, kid?
Oh, absolutely. This cloth stops all the loud and sound waves.
Okay, then. Pat, will you and Joan take a few turns around the deck, just to be sure no one surprises us, while Jerry and I work out a little plan?
Of course, Tex. Come on, Joan.
Call us when you're ready.
Now, Jerry, we've got to figure how to get the formula of my universal solvent to Johnson. I didn't want Joan to know about it. Then she'll be safe from G47 when he tries to find out more about it.
The universal solvent? So that's the formula.
Yes, Jerry, I've actually got the formula for a universal solvent.
Oh, swell. Oh, but when you make some of it, what are you going to keep it in?
You're all right, kid. You use your head, don't you?
Well, I figure that if you have something which will dissolve everything in the world, it would be impossible to keep it in any container. It would just eat right through it.
Good boy. But I can do it just the same. And I'll show you how when the time comes. Just now, we've got to figure how to get the formula to Johnson. He's a lot closer to us than he was, right now.
Gee, how do you know that?
We just heard his signal. I'm keeping this set hot all the time. Only the receiver, of course. And Johnson said he was standing by. And that the latitude of the storm center is now 27 degrees south. That's all in our code.
I remember. He means he's on his way here with a boat, and he'll stand along north of us at latitude 27 south till we can get a message to him.
Right, kid. And even if they intercepted his message here, they wouldn't get much out of it. Now I know how Johnson can rescue us. If I can figure how to get that formula to him.
But with this magnetic fog of theirs intercepting all our messages, how can we do that? Heck, a code would be too dangerous for that formula.
There is only one way I can think of that a message can be safely run past the automatic protection ring on this island.
Is there really a chance, Tex?
More than a chance. And it's all thanks to Mrs. Gregory's good sense that they're on board. She's carried them on every cruise we've ever made and trained them constantly. Now they're going to save us all. They'll get that message to Johnson.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, who, as Clark Kent, today follows a trail that leads him to a startling discovery. We'll join him in just a moment. But first, let's listen to a word from our good friend, Dan McCullough. Come in, Dan.
You know, gang, it'd be a tough job to locate a fellow or girl who doesn't get a great kick out of reading the funny papers. So it's no wonder those nifty comic buttons Kellogg's Pep is putting out make such a big hit. Sure, because every single character on every single one of those 18 different buttons is straight from the comic strips. Take Moon Mullins, for instance. Why, you'd know him anytime with his white derby and his big black cigar. And Orphan Annie's dog Sandy, why, he looks so real he could bark. Of course, Superman's an old favorite with his bright blue jersey and Superman insignia. And remember, these comic buttons are done up in full color, brilliant red and blue and black. Why, they show up like anything when you wear them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. And as for fun, you can't beat the excitement of swapping duplicates with your friends. You can't buy them anywhere. But whenever Mom opens a new package of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep, there's your exclusive prize. One of these exciting comic buttons, or a military insignia or a warplane button. Ask Mom to get you P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
In a bogus sanitarium, the headquarters of the mysterious Crescent and Star gang, Batman and Robin face death in a basement dungeon called Room Zero, where the heavy steel ceiling is slowly being lowered until it meets the floor. Meanwhile, in the Golden Lily nightclub in Metropolis, known to be a contact point for the gang, Clark Kent discovered a phonograph attached to a shortwave radio transmitter. On the phonograph was a record of the song All Alone by Irving Berlin. Instructing Police Inspector Henderson to keep playing the record over and over again, Kent disappeared. As we continue now, Batman and Robin lie face down on the floor of Room Zero. The steel ceiling is only a scant few inches above them, with only a few minutes to go before it will have completed its descent to the floor. Listen.
Robin. If you want me to pass the butter, we're fresh out of it, Pappy.
Cut the wisecracks. I'm afraid this is it.
Looking into your crystal ball again, huh?
Yes, That was the ceiling. Dropped another half-inch.
Getting monotonous, isn't it?
There's the buzzer, Kent. The Dane's here for the atomizer.
Yes. What? Great Scott!
Wait, don't go out there.
Don't go out there, I said.
Not, I'm just cracking the door so you can see. Look. Look who it is, Inspector. Great Jemima. Lois Lane. Yes. I'm going to go out there and stay where you are. Don't move.
Are you sure that this is the right atomizer?
Oh, yes, miss. Mr. Phillips described it over the telephone.
Oh, the reason I ask is that he was particularly anxious that there be no mistake.
You hear that, Kent? Miss Lane says Phillips sent her, and Phillips is the name Jones gave the clerk over the phone.
Maybe it wasn't Jones. Maybe we're on the wrong track.
No, we're on the right track. Don't worry about that.
I can't understand how Lois...
Oh, this is a beautiful thing.
Oh, it's as fine a specimen of Louvain as I've ever seen. Note the crystal quality of the glass.
It's lovely.
And see the simply stunning silver mountings, solid sterling, and exquisitely designed.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Come on, get on with it. I'm going out there, Inspector. Come back here. Let go of my sleeve.
You try to leave this office before I say, and so help me, I'll pull a gun on you, Kent.
Now, look. Be quiet.
If you'll just wrap it up for me, I'll take it.
Oh, certainly, Miss. Shall I have it wrapped as a gift?
Why, well, Mr. Phillips didn't say, but I suppose you might as well.
Well, it won't take long. Have a chair, Miss.
Thank you.
Here comes the clerk. Step aside so Lois can't see you when the door opens, Kent.
Okay.
What'll I do now, Inspector?
Wrap up the atomizer and give it to her.
No, wait.
I'm running this show, Kent. Get going, Sonny.
No,
Shut up. Go ahead, son, and make it snappy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, leave the door open a crack.
Yes, sir.
What's the idea of telling him to give the atomizer to Miss Lane?
You ought to be able to figure that out, Kent.
You mean you're going to follow her?
You're darn tootin' I am. I'm going to let Miss Lane lead us right to Mr. Jones.
I tell you, there's some mistake, Inspector. There must be. I'm going to bring her in here and have her explain.
Kent, I warned you. If you take one step out of this office before I give the word, I'll put a bullet through you.
Oh, listen to reason, Inspector. You know Lois. You can't really
I believe what I see and nothing else.
Inspector, please, just let me bring Lois in here.
Over my dead body. I know how hard this hits you, Kent. But use your head, man.
But if you'll
This is no time for sentiment. Mr. Jones wants the kryptonite. He knows the Vulture and the Lapper have it, and he's the only person who can lead us to them.
I know all
Jones said he's going to finish Superman when he gets the kryptonite. Is that what you want?
Of course not.
All right, then forget it's Lois Lane out there and figure it's just another crook.
Lois isn't a crook.
Now, I'll bet my shield against a collar button. Hold it. Here comes the clerk with a package.
Here you are, Miss. Hope I didn't keep you waiting too long.
Oh, not at all. Thanks very much. Oh, here's Mr. Phillips' check. I believe it's the right amount.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye, and Merry Christmas to you.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, Miss.
Come on. Wait till she gets away from the door. Okay. Let's go.
She just left, Inspector. She went that way.
I know you did okay, son. And thanks. So long.
So long. Merry Christmas, Inspector.
Yeah, the same to you, too. Wait. Okay. There she goes. Come on. Now, take it easy and don't get any closer. Even in this crowd, she might see us if she turns around.
I wonder where she's going.
That's what we're going to find out, sonny boy. And keep your eyes peeled in case she slips the atomizer to somebody who just happens to be passing.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Hey, look, Inspector, I just thought of something.
Yeah, what?
Lois might be walking into trouble.
You're not kidding.
No. I mean, she may not know what she's doing.
Oh, you think maybe she's just walking in her sleep, huh?
No, but...
Hold it. She's going into that candy shop. Okay. Come on. Fast. Hold it. You can see through the window from here. Looks like she's just buying a box of candy.
What else would she buy in a candy shop?
I want to make sure nothing happens to that atomizer.
Nothing's going to happen to it. Listen, Inspector, I'm certain she doesn't know what she's mixed up in. She must have been tricked some way.
Oh, sure. A star reporter like her only earns about $100 a week. So she must have answered an ad for an errand girl to make a little extra Christmas money,
That's
huh?
not funny. I'm afraid she's walking into danger, that's all. You've got to warn her.
We'll warn her when I've got the handcuffs on her. And Mr. Jones.
Oh.
Quick, turn your face away. She's coming out.
And a Merry Christmas to you.
There she is. Still has the atomizer.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Going to flag a taxi. Come on, Kent.
Hey, wait, you're going the wrong way. You left your car back there.
We're not going to use my car.
Why?
She might spot the police insignia.
Oh, yeah.
Cab stopping for her. Come on. There's someone getting out of cab from the jewelry shop. Taxi! Taxi!
Hurry. Someone else is making for that cab.
Yeah, well, they'll be out of luck. Here we are. Hop in, Kent.
Okay.
Where's the taxi?
It's just passing us, the yellow cab.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Hey, driver.
Sir?
Follow that yellow cab that just passed us and step on it. This is a police shop.
Yes, sir. At Crest Park, Inspector. I wish I knew where Miss Lane was going.
She's going to deliver the atomizer to Mr. Jones, of course.
I don't believe it.
You're a stubborn guy, Kent.
Whoa.
But you'll see. Cab is stopping. Pull over to the curb, driver.
Okay, Hey, look. She stopped in front of a church.
Getting out of the cab. Wait till we see where she goes now.
She's going into the church.
Hey, that's a funny one.
You see, Inspector, you were wrong.
I can't be.
What do you mean? You don't think Jones would risk being seen in church in public, do you?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Come on, Kent. We're going to follow her and see what this is all about. Wait for us, driver.
Puzzled, Inspector Henderson and Clark Kent hurried toward the large brick church into which Lois has disappeared, carrying the atomizer. We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer.
I know, gang, that you've been mighty busy all day long with preparations for Christmas Eve. But I'll bet you haven't been too busy to pay mighty quick attention if someone should say, here's another comic button for your collection. Well, that's what happens, you know, when Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pet. And that's an important moment because, well, maybe it's a brand new button, a character that you don't have in your collection yet, like Winnie Winkle or Smokey Stover or Superman himself. Or maybe it's a duplicate, and that's even more fun because then you can negotiate a trade with one of your pals and still add a new button to your collection. So better keep a watch on Mom's supply of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pet. Be sure to remind her when it's time to get another package or two, because that's the only way you can get these swell comic buttons. You don't send in a single penny, not even a box top. Fact is, you can't buy them anywhere. But inside every package of Pep, there's an exciting prize. One of these colorful comic buttons, or a military insignia or warplane button. Remember, P.E.P. Pep is made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
Following Lois Lane from the jewelry shop in which she picked up an atomizer, presumably for Mr. Jones, Inspector Henderson and Clark Kent trailed her to a large brick church in the outskirts of Metropolis. Now, seated in a rear pew of the church, which is suitably garlanded for Christmas Eve, they look on in amazement as Lois, wearing a black smock and still carrying the package containing the atomizer, enters the choir box and joins the large choir.
This is strange, Inspector. Lois never told me she sang in the choir.
Yeah, there are a lot of things she never told you, Kent. About Mr. Jones, for instance.
Oh, I tell you, you're wrong about that.
Oh, no, I'm not. And I figured this church angle out.
What do you mean?
This is Christmas Eve. They're having Vesper carols. Miss Lane sings in the choir, and that makes her look good.
Oh, nonsense.
But right after Vespers are over, she'll take the atomizer to Jones' hideout.
That's ridiculous.
So all we have to do is to wait here, enjoy the music, and trail her to the payoff.
Oh, it's impossible. I can't believe it.
Here comes Mr. Phillips, the choir leader, Mother.
Yes, he's such a fine man.
Kent, did you hear that?
He's done a fine job directing the choir through.
Oh, excuse me, mister. Did you say the choir leader's name was Phillips?
Yes, that's him standing in front of the choir now.
Kent, the slender guy in the frock coat wearing the nose glasses.
I heard. He's Phillips. And he fits Batman and Robin's description of Mr. Jones perfectly.
Kent, that choir leader is Jones, the guy we've been looking for. That's why Miss Lane came here.
Their eyes literally popping, Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson lean forward tensely in the church pew, staring at the slender, scholarly-looking man in the frock coat and pince-nez glasses directing the choir. The choir in which Lois Lane is singing. Can this man really be the murderous criminal who was the leader of the Crescent and Star gang? And can Lois be associated with him? It hardly seems possible, and it's little wonder that Clark Kent has turned pale as a ghost. What is the answer? Tomorrow's episode is dramatic and exciting, fellows and girls, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station, for a thrill a minute in The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday. Same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman, DC Publications. Want to hear a scoop? A big scoop of Kellogg news? Well, listen to this. Kellogg's Variety is back. Yes, Kellogg's have scooped 6 of their most famous cereals into this grand variety carton. One carton containing 10 separate generous-sized packages. So now it's easier for Mom. She just gets Kellogg's Variety, and everybody at the breakfast table can eat his favorite cereal fresh from its own box. Makes breakfast more fun than a picnic. Ask Mom right away to get Kellogg's Variety. It's, well, no fooling. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcast. The following program is transcribed. Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman who today finds it necessary once again to call on his friend Batman for assistance. We'll join them in just a moment. But first, here's Superman himself with a personal message for you.
Hello, everyone. This is Superman, bringing you best wishes for a very Merry Christmas from Lois Lane, Perry White, Jimmy Olsen, and myself. You know, after so many years of half-heartedly celebrating this wonderful holiday while the world was at war, while the many men and women we knew and loved were scattered all over the globe, Christmas today is very extra special. It's special because many of our friends and relatives are back home to celebrate Christmas with us. And because, once more, peace on earth, goodwill to men is more than just a beautiful phrase. On this Christmas day, let's all determine to do everything we can to see that this remains a lasting peace on earth through the everyday practice of goodwill to men. You see, wars grow out of misunderstanding, hate, and intolerance. All things that were preached against by the Prince of Peace, whose nativity we celebrate today. Now, if we try to understand our fellow men, if we avoid hate and banish intolerance, we would do away with the cause for war, and this scourge would forever disappear from the earth. Try to remember always that, as Abraham Lincoln said, all men are created equal. Regardless of race, creed, or color, we're all humans, entitled to the same respect and privileges. Here in America, all of us, black and white, Catholic, Protestant, and Jew, are all Americans. We must live together peaceably at home if we are to live in peace with the rest of the world. Let's see that forever hereafter there is peace on earth, goodwill to men. A Merry Christmas to you all.
Now, the adventures of Superman.
Learning the whereabouts of 2 stolen pieces of kryptonite, the deadly element which robs Superman of his great strength, a mysterious criminal leader calling himself Mr. Jones boasted that he would destroy the Man of Steel. Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson found Jones' broken throat atomizer, and locating the jewelry shop where it had been purchased, learned that a man giving the name of Phillips had just ordered a similar one by telephone. Hiding in the shop on Christmas Eve, Kent and Henderson were stunned when Lois Lane, girl reporter for the Daily Planet, called for the atomizer. They trailed her to a church, where Lois took a position in the choir box. A moment later, a slender, scholarly-looking man appeared and was identified as Mr. Phillips, the choir leader. As we continue now, the choir has begun to sing, and Kent and Henderson, seated in a rear pew, realize that the choir leader answers perfectly to the description of the murderous Mr. Jones. Listen.
Kent, that choir leader is Jones, the guy we're looking for.
Well, he answers the description Batman gave us all right. He's thin, scholarly, even the pince-nez glasses. But I can't believe it.
Whether you believe it or not, it's true. Jones is masquerading as a choir leader named Phillips. But he slipped up when he sent Miss Lane to pick up his atomizer. And now I'm going to pick him up.
Wait, Inspector.
Wait, nothing. That guy is a crook and a murderer.
Come here. Let go of my sleeve. Have you forgotten where you are? You're in church. This is Christmas Eve and services are going on.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Besides, we're not sure he is, Mr. Jones.
Not sure? Didn't we find his busted atomizer in the bookstore where he shot the Scarlet Widow?
I know.
And didn't he order a duplicate from the same jewelry shop where he bought the first one, using the name of Phillips?
I know all that, and I'm inclined to agree with you. But neither you nor I ever saw Jones, so we can't make a positive identification.
Wait till I get my hands on him. I'll get the truth out of him.
You might not. The thing to do is to get someone here who knows him, who's seen him.
Yeah? Who?
Batman, of course, or Robin. They both know Mr. Jones. He tried to finish them off in his phony sanitarium.
Well, where are you going to find them? Nobody knows where they keep themselves.
I think I might be able to find them. You wait here, Inspector.
Just try to get me away.
Okay, but just don't tackle our choir leader friend until I get back.
Are you trying to tell me how to run my job again?
No.
Well, on your way then. And if you want to be in at the finish, make sure you're back by the time those Vesper carols are over. Because the minute they are, I'm going to put handcuffs on Mr. Jones and Miss Lane.
Leaving the church, Kent swiftly resumes his true identity of Superman and streaks through the dark evening skies to the other end of the city, where he drops down before a handsome brick residence where Batman and Robin live under their true names of Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. A large illuminated Christmas tree stands on the terrace, and Batman, wearing the gray tweeds of Bruce Wayne and looking worn and weary, opens the door to Superman's ring.
Oh, hello, Superman. Hey, come on in. I've got bad news for you.
Why, what happened?
Robin and I lost Mr. Jones' trail. I'm awfully sorry.
Don't worry about it. I think Inspector Henderson and I picked it up.
You did?
Uh-huh.
Where? When?
Jones is at a church across town, masquerading as a choir leader named Phillips, or so we think. We need you to identify him. Can you come over now?
Well, all I have to do is close the... Oh, wait. Do we need Robin?
I don't think so. Not at the moment, anyhow.
Well, good. Come on, then. I made him go to bed. He was pretty worn out.
Well, no wonder. After your little experience in room 0... Well, all set for a quick trip?
We go by Superman Express, eh?
Non-stop. Hang on.
Let her rip.
Here we go, then. Up and away!
Oh, you're a lot faster than my bat plane. If you ever need a job, Superman, come to see me.
Thanks a lot. I'll remember that.
Gosh. Don't ever tell Robin about this ride. He'd never forgive me for leaving him behind.
I'll make it up to him. That looks like our church ahead. Fasten your safety belt. We're going down.
Roger.
Down to those bushes. Down! Oh, good. Choir's still singing. Okay, strip to your Batman costume. Then I'll get back into Clark Kent's clothes.
What for? Oh, yes. I saw Jones as Batman.
That's right.
Can't very well identify him as Bruce Wayne, can I?
No. And I left here as Kent. You realize you're the only person in the world who knows I'm Superman?
These quick changes get a little confusing sometimes, don't they?
You're not kidding. I've almost given myself away to Jimmy Olsen a dozen times. There we are. Now, my specs. Okay. You all set?
I'll just have to get my hood and mask on. There. Here, I'm ready. Lead me to friend Jones.
Come on.
Oh, it's starting to snow. Looks like we'll have a nice white Christmas.
Won't be nice for me.
Well, why not? This bird is really Jones. We'll make him give out with where the kryptonite is, and all your troubles will be over.
Not quite. I haven't had the heart to tell you yet, but Lois Lane is mixed up with him some way.
What?
Yes, she... Uh-oh, hold it.
What's up?
I guess the carols are about over. They're going to open the doors. Quick, get behind this bush.
You were right. That X-ray vision of yours comes in handy. But where's the choir leader?
He's joining Lois. Now they're starting down the aisle together. Oh.
What now?
She just gave him the atomizer.
What atomizer?
I'll explain later. I was hoping she wouldn't give it to him. Wait a minute, here comes Henderson. Suppose he's going to stand outside and grab him. Inspector!
Oh, there you are, Kent. Listen, she gave him the atomizer.
I know.
Batman.
Merry Christmas, Inspector.
Where'd you find him, Kent?
Why,
Oh, yes, he...
Never mind, tell me later. Here comes our saintly choir leader and Lois Lane. You see them, Batman?
I think so, but not very clearly. There's too many people around.
They're moving this way. You'll get a good look at our bird in just a moment. And we're counting on you to identify him.
If he's Jones, you can depend on my knowing him. I've got a little score to settle with that rat. Oh, I see him now.
Is it Jones?
Wait till he gets closer. I want to hear his voice.
Tensely, Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson watch Lois Lane and the slender, scholarly-looking choir leader approach through the crowd and wait for Batman to identify the man as Mr. Jones. If he does, Superman may be freed from the menace of the deadly kryptonite forever. But Lois will be branded as a criminal. We'll return in a moment for the dramatic climax of today's episode. But first, here is a very special message for you from your friend Dan.
Today, gang, I won't be talking to you about Kellogg's Pep because it's Christmas Day. Instead, let's talk about what makes Christmas one of the very best days in the whole year. You see, Christmas is a day when lots of dreams come true, when that very special gift that you've been wanting so much more than lives up to your hopes. It's a day when you give a happy thought to others, when the gifts you give warm someone's heart. So Christmas and its kindly customs have lived for many centuries. It's a day of joy and cheerfulness, a day you look forward to and plan for, and a day you remember ever after. So, gang, today, the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek is wishing you the very happiest Christmas of all.
Outside a church on Christmas Eve, Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson are waiting for Batman to identify the choir leader as Mr. Jones, a criminal leader and murderer. He is now approaching through the crowd with Lois Lane. Listen.
Well, Batman, is it Jones or not?
Just a second, Inspector. I want to see him close up and hear his voice.
Oh, weren't the Vespers lovely tonight, Mr. Phillips?
Indeed, they were, Miss Lane. You members of the choir did me proud.
Thank you. Oh, look, it's starting to snow, and you forgot your hat.
No, I didn't. I never wear a hat.
Well, how about it, Batman?
No, I don't think he's Jones.
He isn't?
No, he looks amazingly like him, but no, it's not Jones.
I'm sorry. But I'm glad, too, for Lois's sake.
You're sure you won't catch cold, Mr. Phillips?
Oh, I never catch cold.
Famous last words.
Wait, it is Jones.
What? It is?
Yes. His voice fooled me at first.
You're sure?
I'm positive. He's putting on an act, but it's still Jones. I swear to it.
That's enough for me. Let's go.
Now, wait, Inspector. Don't scare Lois.
You keep out of this,
You
Kent.
always wanted the very self.
Good evening, Mr. Jones.
I beg your pardon.
Never mind begging my pardon. Just put your hands out for the pretty bracelets.
What?
Inspector Henderson, what is the meaning of this?
As if you didn't know, Miss Lane. Come on, Jonesy. Put out your hand.
But
Clark.
Hello, Lois.
And Batman. Wait, Clark, what is this? Well, why are you looking at me so strangely? And what is Inspector Henderson doing to Mr. Phillips?
Now, see
Save it for the judge. All right, Miss Lane. Let's try this other bracelet on you. For size.
What? I should say not.
I don't understand.
Clark, are you just going to stand there and let him handcuff me?
I'm sorry, Lois. There's nothing I can do about it.
But
There, that does it.
What?
Now, we'll come along quietly, both of you. I gave you a break taking you behind this bush where it's dark. But if you want all your church friends to see you...
I don't care what they see. I want to know the meaning of this outrage.
So do I.
Oh, cut out the comedy, will you? Now, I've got a taxi waiting up the street. If you want to act nice, we can ride in that.
What?
Otherwise, I'll have to call the wagon.
The wagon? You must be out of your mind, Inspector. Clark, will you stop standing there like a gook and explain this? I suppose it's a joke,
Maybe
but it isn't
murder
very...
is a joke to you, Miss Lane, but not to us.
Murder? Well, Mr. Jones here murdered the Scarlet Widow, Lois.
Mr. Jones. Oh, so that's it. You've made a mistake. This isn't Mr. Jones.
Of course not. My name is Algernon Phillips.
Yeah, and mine's Humperdinck Hornschnozzle. Let's get going to that taxi.
I will not budge until I know what this is all about.
You'll move and move fast, Miss Lane.
Now, look...
And if it'll make you feel any better, which it won't, Kent and I were in the jewelry shop this evening when you picked up the atomizer for your friend, Mr. Jones.
The atomizer? Oh, of course I did. But I don't understand.
I think I do now.
You realize we've got the goods on you, huh, Jones?
I realize it's time to reveal my secret.
What?
We know your secret, chum.
No, you don't, Inspector. It's a strange and quite terrible story, one I've kept locked in my heart for years. But now, well, I guess I can't keep it secret any longer. I live just a few doors down the street. If you gentlemen would be good enough to accompany me there...
Nothing doing. We're going to headquarters.
Please, Inspector. You see I'm not armed. You can examine my house carefully before we go in. I assure you, you won't regret it. But if you insist on going to headquarters now, I'll never tell my story.
Oh, no?
Take him up, Inspector. What can you lose?
That's what I say.
Huh? Well, okay. We'll go to your house, Jones. But remember, don't try any tricks. It won't be healthy.
I quite realize that. Shall we go?
Yeah. And remember, I'm right behind you. With a gun.
Handcuffed together, the slender, scholarly-looking choir leader and Lois Lane start away from the church, closely followed by Inspector Henderson and a puzzled Clark Kent and Batman. What is the strange and terrible story Mr. Phillips, or is it Mr. Jones, has promised to reveal? Well, it's a strange story, fellows and girls, one you won't want to miss. So be sure to tune in tomorrow, same time, same station, for The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Public.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
Escape! Designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to a lonely schooner sailing through the hot Caribbean night, carrying a fortune and the heedless passions of reckless men, as John and Gwen Bagney tell it in their exciting tale, The Sure Thing.
This way, senor.
Thank you.
If you would please wait in here in the president's office.
Fine.
You understand, senor, I have not the authority to handle the matter myself.
Yes, of course I understand.
You see, a bank draft of $2 million. It is a matter of such importance. Senor Jose Perez, the president of the bank, he is the only one.
That's perfectly all right. I'll wait for Senor Perez.
Gracias, senor. Gracias.
Wait? Yes, I could wait. I'd come this far, I could afford a few more minutes. And I'd wanted to think about it, to roll it over in my mind, just as you roll a fine liqueur over your tongue to enjoy the full realization of it. It was hard to believe. Just a short while ago, I had been ship's doctor on the SS Martina, the gilded ferry boat of the Caribbean. And now, I sat back in a comfortable chair and went over the whole thing again in my mind, just the way it happened, from the beginning. We had just cleared the Straits of Yucatan on our way to Havana when the 23-word message came that started the whole thing.
Same thing, Doc. SOS, latitude 23 north, longitude 85 west. Accident case on board schooner Sidon en route to Havana. Urgently need doctor. Can you board us?
Is that all? No answer as to the type of injury?
I don't get it, Doc. She's laying to just out the starboard, and they still keep sending the same message.
Lifeboat's ready, Doctor.
Coming.
Got all your gear?
All set. Let's go. As a rule, I don't excite easily, but I was hanging onto my little black bag like an intern on his first ambulance case. Maybe it was the hour, the gray hour at sea that is suspended between day and night. As we pulled away from our ship, I could just barely make out the schooner heeling to a wandering current. She was a 42-footer, and from her high bow, she sloped away neatly in a sweeping, sheer line to a trim, square stern. The Sidon. The name seemed to fit her, aloof and aristocratic. We pulled alongside.
That's the doctor?
Yes, give us a hand, will you?
All right, men, ship your oars. Steady, Doc.
You on board here, take my bag. Olson, give me a hand with a stretcher.
Right.
Watch your step, Pep. There, easy.
There, thanks. Well, there we are. Now, where's the patient?
He's below. What'd you bring the stretcher for?
Who are you?
I'm the owner. Felix Rouge is the name. You can't take him off this boat. He's too weak.
I'll decide that. Come on, Olson.
Come on, Doc.
We went below. The main cabin was lined in Honduras mahogany. Everything was custom built. Even the galley that we passed through on our way to the stateroom forward, where I found my patient, an old man, and with him, a girl.
Oh, Doctor, I'm so glad you're here. Joseph. Joseph.
Huh?
Joseph, the doctor. He's here.
Oh. Doctor. Thank heaven.
Easy now. Easy. You'll be all right.
Doctor, he had an accident. He's terribly ill. I've been so worried.
Please. Bad shock. Pulse pretty low.
You're not going to take him away, are you?
No, can't.
Easy now. Have you enough oil aboard to reach Havana if the wind doesn't hold?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Olson.
Yeah, Doc?
You go on back. This man's in no condition to be moved.
What about you?
I'll meet the ship in Havana. We ought to be in there sometime tomorrow.
But the skipper...
I'll take the responsibility.
Okay. You're the doctor.
All right, let's have a look here. Easy now. Who bandaged him?
I did.
You did a good job.
No,
don't try to talk. How long has he been this way?
2 days.
2 days?
The wound, Doctor, I'm afraid it's...
Yes, it's a nasty one. Deep and infected. Who did the surgery on him?
Surgery?
Who probed for the bullet?
Bullet? There was no bullet. He was injured while splicing a backstay with a marlin spike.
He was what?
You see, he was carrying the marlin spike in his hand when Felix had to come about unexpectedly. It threw him off balance and he fell.
Hand me my bag.
What's the matter?
You're like a parrot I used to own. Your sea talk is too glib.
It's the truth, I tell you.
I've dug out too many bullets not to recognize the kind of mess they make.
It was a marlin spike.
Yes, well, you can yell marlin spike all the way to Havana, but it isn't going to change my report.
Report? No bullet. Marlin spike.
Lie back now.
Marlin.
This won't hurt.
What?
Just a hypodermic.
No dope. I don't want to.
But I've got to probe. You can't take it if you're conscious.
No anesthetic. Only brandy.
Doctor, give him the anesthetic.
Oh, no. You'd like that, wouldn't you, Stephanie?
You're out of your mind, Joseph. I just want to save you the pain and the doctor...
Get him the brandy.
But, Doctor...
It's his body. If that's what he wants, that's the way he'll have it. Now get the brandy.
Thank you. And, Doctor...
Yes?
Send Stephanie away. Don't want her around me.
She went away, but she didn't like it. And I got to work. The old man didn't say a word all the time I probed. Just moaned and gritted his teeth. I found the bullet all right, and then I powdered the wound with sulfur and bandaged it. I could see I'd have my hands full just to keep him together until we got to Havana. For the next couple of hours, I was pretty busy, and it was well after 10 o'clock when I felt it was safe to leave him and go up on deck to catch a smoke. Halfway up the companionway, I ran into Felix Arouge on his way down. I hadn't got a good look at him when I first came aboard, but now I did. Heavy, dark, bony face with a black mole on his cheek. Fine flannel slacks rolled to his knees. And for a belt, a gaudy necktie. Against the polished brass and teak deck of the schooner, he was as incongruous as a herring in caviar.
Well, Doc, how's the old boy? Is he going to kick off?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I think he's going to be all right.
You think, or do you know?
I'm only a doctor. I've done everything I can for him. Wait a minute. Where are you going?
I want to see him. I got to talk to him.
I wouldn't advise it.
Since when are you giving the orders around here?
Since I came aboard. I don't want him disturbed. He needs to rest.
Yeah. You got any objections if I get myself a cup of coffee?
No, so long as you stay away from my patients.
Oh, I didn't hear you come up.
You handle the wheel like an old salt.
Oh, I don't know much about it. I just do what Felix tells me. How's Joseph? You've been down there such a long time, I thought that maybe...
That he died?
What a horrible thing to say. Of course not.
Who is Joseph? Your husband?
No, I'm his secretary.
Oh, then this is a business trip.
In a way. Doctor, what are you getting at?
Did you shoot him?
Why would I shoot him and then call for a doctor out here in the middle of the ocean?
I don't know, and after tomorrow I won't care. You realize, of course, my report to the authorities in Havana will be according to my own findings.
I suppose so. May I have a cigarette?
Oh, certainly. Here you are.
Thank you, I have a light. I don't imagine there's any way of changing your mind. Is there, Doctor?
This is a beautiful schooner. Belong to your boss?
Yes.
I wonder, you mind if I take the wheel for a while? It's been a long time since...
Oh, you know how to sail?
Yeah, I used to back in Maine.
All right, go ahead.
Feels good. Yeah, she sure handles like a dream. Uh-huh. Just as I thought.
What's wrong, Doctor?
We're not headed for Havana. We're headed in the opposite direction. The Sidon was racing along with sails full, but she wasn't sailing due east to Havana. The compass said she was sailing southwest, away from Havana as fast as wind and sail could take her. I laid her on the starboard tack and started to bring her about. The sails bellied out, catching the wind as it shifted across the bow. And then as they started to fill away, the mainmast boom swung over. Just as I ducked to avoid it, a shot rang out. I put up my hand to steady myself against the main boom. And there in the wood, right where my head would have been if I hadn't ducked, was the bullet. Across the deck, silhouetted in the light of the companionway, stood Felix, polishing his gun with a handkerchief.
You shouldn't tack, Doctor, when a man's cleaning his gun.
Cleaning your gun in the dark in the middle of the night?
I suppose it is dangerous. I say you don't like our course.
I was under the impression this craft was bound for Havana.
That's right, Doc, we are.
Then why are we sailing southwest?
Southwest? That's a woman for you. Can't trust them behind the wheel of a car, and they're no better behind the wheel of a boat.
Oh, no, Felix, you don't blame me for that. I don't know anything about a course. I did what you told me.
Then why didn't you do it right?
If I'm so incompetent, maybe you'd better handle it yourself.
Maybe I will.
As the Sidon pushed its way through the serenity of the night, carrying with it an incredible tension, I didn't know what that game was. The lies, the marlinspike, nocturnal gun cleaning, change of course, who they were or what they meant to each other. But one thing was certain. I intended to get to Havana if it was the last thing I ever did. And to make sure it wasn't the last thing, this was one night I wouldn't sleep. I went down to the old man's stateroom where I'd left my bag to get some Benzedrine. While I was there, I checked on him. Considering his age, he had a lot of stamina. He was sleeping quietly. He wouldn't need me. I opened the bag, took the tablets, and suddenly my hand stopped in midair. My hypodermic needle, loaded with the anesthetic that Joseph had refused, was gone.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape. But first, we keep reminding you that this fall you'll hear them all on CBS. But there's one Sunday night show that makes you think constantly that it's spring. It's the show that brings you the hilarious adventures of that capricious teenage charmer, Corliss Archer. Youth and love and a definite springtime madness well up in Corliss's adventures every Sunday night, bewitching, bothering, and bewildering her parents, the neighbors, her teachers, and her boyfriends. For a show that's filled to the brim with charm and good humor and very funny adventure, meet Corliss Archer every Sunday night on most of the same CBS network stations.
Tune in this fall for the shows that you love best of all. Listen carefully, here's the address. It's CBS.
And now back to Escape and the second act of The Sure Thing.
My hypodermic needle, loaded with the anesthetic that Joseph had refused, was gone. I tore the bag apart, took everything out, but it wasn't there. It wasn't anywhere in the stateroom. One of them had stolen it. Why? To use on the old man? On me? I went back up on deck. Felix was at the wheel. I knew it was futile to ask him if he'd taken my needle.
What's the matter? Can't you sleep? Or are you still worried about the course? See, we're sailing due east.
Very commendable. Mind if I take the wheel a while?
No, I don't mind at all. But keep her due east, Doctor. I want to get to Havana.
I watched his truculent broad back as he moved across the deck and disappeared below. The moon was as bright as day and as reassuring. It drove the worry of the missing hypodermic needle away from the front of my mind. It was good to be alone, to feel the sure swiftness of the boat under my feet. This was something to cling to. This was reality. Every knot closer to Havana. The sails swung out, covering the moon, throwing everything into blackness. That's why I didn't realize at first anyone was approaching until I saw the glow of the cigarette. I tensed myself. My hand clutched at something in the cockpit. It was a wrench. The cigarette moved closer. I waited. The sail bellowed back, and I saw her, full in the moonlight. There was strength and defiance in the way she held her footing against the wind, but there was no defiance in her voice.
I have to talk to you.
Go ahead, talk.
I'm afraid I haven't been very honest with you.
No, I'm afraid you haven't.
I lied to you, and I realize now how foolish it was, but... Doctor, I'm afraid of Felix.
Are you trying to tell me it was Felix who shot the old man?
Yes, and he made me lie about it.
Like you lied about the course?
You'll never get to Havana. He's letting you think that you're getting there now, but he'll figure out something.
Yeah, I'm sure he will, if that target practice a few moments ago was any sample.
Oh, he wasn't trying to kill you. Felix wouldn't kill you now, not as long as Joseph needs you. I mean...
You know, you're not making sense again. Felix wants me to keep Joseph alive, and yet Felix shot Joseph.
It was just in a fit of anger, an argument. Felix has a terrible temper. Why, he'd be a fool to kill Joseph.
What makes Joseph so valuable?
I suppose I should tell you all of it.
Well, that might be a good idea.
I told you the truth about one thing, at least. I am his secretary. Only his name isn't just Joseph. It's Joseph Ingram.
Ingram? No wonder his face was familiar. He's the big aviation tycoon. Yeah, but look, Ingram was killed 2 weeks ago. I read about it in the papers. A transcontinental airplane crashed into a mountain.
Yes. Even fate works for him. We were on our way to Washington. He'd been subpoenaed to have his war contracts investigated. Oh, the public was really worked up about it. He was a cinch to be indicted. Why, even his own wife left him after 20 years of marriage. But as luck would have it, we got off the plane at Albuquerque to answer a wire from his attorney.
But the radio and the newspapers obituaried him to death.
I know. That's how things happened for him. Apparently, there was just no record of us leaving the plane, and they only found half the survivors, and some of those they couldn't identify.
Now, go on.
Well, when Joseph realized that he was officially dead, he saw the way out. He phoned Felix in Florida to have us sitting ready, and we took a train down and boarded her there.
Yeah, I see, but I don't...
Well, why do you think I'm on this boat? Do you think I wanted to come? Do you think I wanted to leave my whole life behind? I was forced to come. I was the only one who knew that Joseph was still alive. And now you know.
What about Felix?
Oh, Felix, he does odd jobs, as it were, for Joseph. And Joseph owns Felix, body and soul, just as he owns everyone who works for him.
And, you?
I was ambitious. I ought to hate Joseph, but it's not his fault. I saw a chance to go further with him than with any other man. Only I'd known how it would end. Running away from everything. Always to be afraid.
Well, if that's it, then I was wrong. Then maybe the needle isn't meant for Joseph.
Needle? What needle?
A hypodermic needle loaded with anesthetic. It's missing from my bag. If it isn't meant for Joseph or for me, it's meant for you.
Oh, no. Oh, no. He can't. He wouldn't.
I'm afraid we'll have to be more realistic.
We?
If you'll forgive the pun, I'm afraid we're both in the same boat. There was desperation on her face, and I felt sorry for her. She was in this mess up to her neck, and she was afraid. And yet it was good having her beside me there in the cockpit. It was pleasant to be with her. Just the two of us, and the moon and the sea. Well, anyway, the hypodermic needle was the farthest thing from my mind when I took her in my arms. And then it happened. I felt the sting of it pierce my flesh. The needle!
What are you talking about?
The needle. You stuck me with it.
Needle? Oh, I'm sorry. It was just my brooch. It's always coming open.
Brooch? I thought...
Silly. Fasten it for me, will you, please?
Yeah, sure, yes, of course.
Well, you're shaking.
Well, it's that missing hypodermic. It has me rattled. I've got to get it back.
You'll get it back?
Yes, but when? How?
Right now, Doctor. Like this.
She used the needle deftly. In one motion, plunged it in my arm. I tried to struggle to my feet. Her face was mocking me. I grabbed for her, but the drug was warm and deadening. And after a blurred moment, I was gone. I could hear them from a long ways off. I came to slowly. Then I lay there listening.
Well, you bungled it again.
I only did what you told me to do. You're the one who's bungled it.
It's a good thing I caught you
They
before
were
you
both
kicked him
standing
overboard.
over me, working on me, doing everything they could to bring me to.
Now you've spoiled everything. Why did you have to rush things?
You want to know where the money is, don't you?
Well, you haven't found out, and now maybe you won't. If you'd left Joseph alone. Oh, but no, you couldn't wait. As soon as the doctor was unconscious, you had to work him over. If Joseph dies out, we'll never find out where he hid it.
It's on this boat, I know that. And I didn't hurt him, I just pushed him around a little.
Oh, that stupid temper of yours, that awful impatience. You think you could have waited for $2 million?
$2 million. Now it began to make some sense. Now everything made sense. As long as Joseph needed a doctor and wouldn't tell where the money was, we both lived. But if I couldn't keep him alive...
Get on your feet, Doc. Come on, Doc. Get on your feet.
Felix, easy.
Since when are you getting so touchy? Now, come on.
All right, I'm on my feet.
Welcome back, Doc. Now get below. The old man needs you. He's had a relapse. Stephanie, take the wheel. I said get below, Doc.
I'm not in the mood to take orders.
Maybe this'll put you in the mood.
Creased my chin with a short jab. My knees buckled. I swung at him and missed. I saw another one coming. This time I ducked and connected with a roundhouse on the side of his head that sent him reeling along the wet, narrow deck. I started after him, just as the boat came about violently, heeling over with her scuppers awash. I wildly grabbed the guy line just in time to see Felix fly into the sea. I whipped around. The girl had done it, spinning the wheel like crazy. I dashed back to the cockpit and tried to grab it away from her. She fought me like a tiger, but I finally pushed her off, righted the boat, and put her about. But Felix was nowhere in sight. We tacked around, searching for him, but it was useless. Well, he's gone. You killed him.
It was an accident. You ought to be glad he's gone.
Why?
Well, it was either him or you.
Your concern touches me.
Besides, we don't need him, don't you see? You know how to handle a boat, and you're a doctor. You can keep Joseph alive until we make him talk. And when we find out where his money is, we can get rid of him.
And sail away into the sunset, huh?
That's right. Just you and me.
Yeah. No thanks. I'll play out the original hand in Havana.
I don't think so, Doctor. I'm setting the course now. And if you're interested, I'm a much better shot than Felix. I won't hit the boom.
The gun glittered in the moonlight, and she was smiling at me. But I wasn't looking at her, but beyond her. At first I wasn't sure. I just sensed the movement. And then I saw him. Joseph Ingram, barefooted and in pajamas, pulling himself painfully up the companionway, forcing his body to make the effort.
Joseph!
You wanted too much, Stephanie. My money and Felix's you.
Felix is gone. He had an accident.
Like mine, I suppose. If only I hadn't been so greedy. If only you'd waited, you'd have gotten your share.
Joseph, you're sick.
You were such a little fool, Stephanie. In the heel of my shoe is a draft on the National Bank of Venezuela for $2 million payable to bearer.
So that's where it is. Thank you, Joseph. That's very generous of you.
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't been watching. A bullet in the stomach, yet he kept coming at her, lumbering barefooted across the deck like a wounded bear in blue silk pajamas.
Not so easy.
She backed away from him. Everything I'd done into him, but he kept coming.
Not so easy.
She was at the edge of the deck as he collapsed against her, his heavy arms in a death grip around her. And like a cartwheel, they spun together over the side into the inky light of the sea. $2 million in the heel of a shoe. Yeah, it was in the heel of the shoe, all right. I went below and found it. Just a piece of paper that 3 people had died over. $2 million, certified backwards and forwards, payable to bearer. In just a few hours, it would be daylight. I could be in Havana by noon. Back to the Martina. Back to the dispensary. Back to the endless round of seasick pills, hangover remedies, and, when I'm lucky, maybe a sprained ankle. Or Venezuela. The choice was simple. There was no risk at all. It was a cinch. It was a sure thing. It was payable to bearer.
Good afternoon, senor. I'm sorry I've kept you waiting. You presented this bank draft for payment, senor?
Yes. Are you Senor Perez?
That is right. I'm the president of the bank. This draft, it is quite a large sum.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the draft, is there?
No, senor. It is in order.
Good.
And you wish us to transfer this money to your bank in the United States?
No. As a matter of fact, I wish to open an account here.
Oh, certainly. Gomez, you will make the arrangements for the senor.
Oh, si, Senor Perez, at once.
And now, there is a lady, a countrywoman of yours, waiting to see you. Please, step this way, senor.
To see me? But who?
Oh, Joseph, I've been waiting so long. Senor Perez, is this the man who presented the draft for payment?
Si, senor.
But he isn't. Then what's happened to Joseph?
Who?
Joseph Ingram, of course.
Senor Perez, who is this woman? What is she doing here?
Well, I heard the Sidon had come in this morning with only one person aboard, so I rushed right here to the bank. But you've cashed the draft. What have you done? Killed Joseph for it?
Look, madam, I don't know what you're talking about. Just who are you, anyway?
I'm Joseph Ingram's wife.
Mrs. Ingram? But then, surely you know he died in that plane crash back in the States.
He didn't, and you know it. Joseph wasn't on that plane. He boarded the Sidon in Florida.
Now, look, madam, all the newspapers...
Joseph and I planned the whole thing. Those highly publicized statements about our divorce were just a cover-up. He was to meet me here with the money. And I know he would have if he were still alive. Senor Perez, will you call the police? I accuse this man of murdering my husband.
Si, senora.
I didn't kill him. She killed him.
She?
Stephanie, his secretary.
And where is she?
She's dead, too. He killed her.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense. Where's Felix Arouge?
Well, you see, Felix, he was killed when he...
Yes?
Well, you see, it was like... I stopped. They were staring at me. They didn't believe me, of course. Who would ever believe me? But it had seemed like such a sure thing. And it was. Murder. Payable to bearer.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented The Sure Thing by John and Gwen Bagney. Featured in the cast were John Hoyt as the doctor, Bill Conrad as Felix Arouge, Fay Baker as Stephanie, and Ian Wolfe as Joseph Ingram. Also heard were Don Diamond, Ted DeCorsia, and Sarah Selby. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week...
You're within a few days of your release after 8 years of horror on the prison island of New Caledonia. But between you and final freedom stands the love of a beautiful girl and the monstrous figure of Monsieur Deneux, the official executioner.
Next week, we escape with John Russell's terrifying story, The Red Mark. Good night, then, until the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. A whole family of top Hollywood stars waits to entertain your family every Sunday on CBS. It's on the Family Hour of Stars, heard over most of these same CBS stations. A half hour of top entertainment, romance, comedy, or drama, starring Irene Dunn, Ronald Colman, Loretta Young, Dana Andrews, Kirk Douglas, and Jane Wyman in turn. Your whole family will enjoy the Family Hour of Stars, Sunday on CBS, where this fall you'll hear them all. Stay tuned now for Sing It Again, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to the waterfront of Havana and to an underworld where men live and sometimes die by a bizarre code of their own. As Burnham Carter tells it in his exciting story, Night in Havana.
Something was wrong. Halfway up the street of Pious Works that evening, I realized that something was wrong. None of the regulars were to be seen. Assuredly, something was wrong. But what? And then I remembered that since I had decided to live an honest life, it was really no concern of mine. As I came abreast of the Why Worry restaurant, I saw the Dutchman, Maru, who owned a cabin cruiser and who was, consequently, a man of some prominence in the smuggling trade. He was standing on the weighing machine near the door, slapping it with his big hands.
Tio, you have a penny?
A penny? See, here.
Thanks. 193 pounds. When I reach 195, I'll switch from beer to coffee. When I hit 190, I go back to beer.
It's like the rise and fall of the tide in Havana Harbor.
2 pounds of beer to go. If you're headed for the Cafe Mosca, I'll join you.
Well, bueno. Hey, come along.
Tio, got a few dollars to lend me?
I have not seen any money in weeks. I was hoping to find a purchaser for my gun this evening.
Oh, Tio, you're kidding. You're going to sell your gun?
See?
How will you live?
Honestly.
Honestly,
Maru,
you...
Please, you are attracting attention. Quiet, you have attracted attention. Quiet.
What?
The police, Lieutenant Molina across the street.
Oh, here they come. Who's that with him?
Sergeant Ortiz, newly promoted, very ambitious, and... No, I missed a highlight game last night, Maru. I remained at home and read instead.
You, stand where you are.
Oh, it is Lieutenant Molina and Sergeant...
Search this one, Sergeant.
Nothing, Lieutenant. This one conceals nothing.
You see, I lead a dull and peaceful life.
I see that you do. Use your handkerchief, Tio. Your lips bleeding. They seem upset.
I bear them no ill will. They have a hard life, too. It is still bleeding, huh?
Yeah. You can doctor it at the Cafe Mosca.
They must have been told to get someone for something.
You know, I held my breath during that frisk. I was afraid you might be carrying your gun.
I was? But when I saw them coming toward us, I put it in your pocket.
Oh.
May I have it now, please?
Here. That is not what I would call honorable, Tio.
Maru, there is so little honor in this world that one is just not able to toss it about indiscriminately. Tell me, does my lip look bad?
It's beginning to swell.
Amalia will be very upset.
Amalia? Who owns the Mosca?
Yes, we are betrothed.
No, I did not know that. Congratulations.
Gracias.
Come. I buy you a beer. Come on, step up to the bar.
Later, perhaps. Thank you, but now I must see Amalia.
Your little one. Oh, I see your lip.
Oh, there's nothing, Amalia. Nothing. The police were in a petulant mood. There is nothing.
Oh, the police, yes. They were here. Lieutenant. Wait, he gave me his card. Yes, Lieutenant Molina.
Tell me, did he mention the cause of all this ill feeling?
An American tourista. A very rich one. A very gay one. She has been robbed.
And so soon after the police chief let it be known that American tourists were not to be robbed.
Yes.
Amalia, what did she lose?
An emerald. An emerald of great size.
Oh.
She had it in her purse, left the purse in the Café Diablo. Tio, you had nothing to do with this matter, did you?
Oh, no, my fair one, nothing. I wish I had.
You promised, Theo, you promised.
I know, but... Maria, it's not easy to be honest. I would have been honest years ago. Could I have earned money?
Little one, listen to me. After each of your transactions, they have kept you in the jail. It is like my account books. One malefaction, one payment in jail.
See.
Now you owe them nothing. There are no debts.
But you have a debt. The mortgage of $2,100 on this cafe.
Oh, let that be. Little by little we shall pay it.
But there is my pride to consider, my dove. To this marriage, you bring the Cafe Mosca. I bring nothing.
Ay, Theo. You bring your love. Is that nothing?
Oh, in your eyes it is much, see, but in the eyes of the bank, it's nada. Who is this American tourista who carries emeralds in her purse? Huh?
Oh, Mrs. Turner. She is here with her husband. They have great wealth. They came from Miami in their own cruiser. It is called the Seabird, and it is almost as large as Maru's. Theo, promise me you will not become involved.
I promise that if I do, it will be within the law.
Oh, little one, I beg
It will be within the law, I swear it to you. Did Lieutenant Molina mention a reward?
No. He said that if I acquired information concerning the emerald, I was to inform either him or Mr. and Mrs. Turner at the Hotel Flores.
Well, perhaps it would be best to learn whether there is a reward and of a size sufficient to warrant time and effort. I am going to see Senor Stern Amalie.
Theo, little one, I am afraid.
Oh, there is nothing to fear. An honest man need never have anything to fear. Let me have Lieutenant Molina's card, my dove. It may help me to impress the Americans.
Yes?
Senor Stern.
Yeah?
I am Lieutenant Molina of the secret police. My card.
Well, come in, Lieutenant Molina. Tell me, is there another detective with that name? It seems to me...
Well, it is a common patron name, like in your country, Smith.
Yeah. Well, have you found the emerald?
Regrettably, senor, no. But I would like to talk about it.
And I'll call my wife. She's the one who lost it. The knucklehead. Lucille!
Here I am. Don't yell so, Ducky.
This is Lieutenant Molina of the secret police.
It is a great honor, senora.
You see that, Ducky? He kissed my hand.
I saw. Sit down, Lieutenant. You care for a drink?
No, thank you. Not while on duty.
Well, what's on your mind, Lieutenant? My wife and I have a dinner date
It has
tonight.
occurred to us, the chief and I, that although we will, of course, eventually catch the thief, it will take some time. You understand, there are 1,000 rat holes and rats of many nations and much cunning.
We don't have much time. Mrs. Sterner and I are leaving Havana tomorrow afternoon.
And that brings me precisely to my point, the matter of a reward.
Oh, no. Not another nickel. If I can't grease the wheels with $750, they just won't be greased. I'm a reasonable man, Lieutenant, but I'm no sucker.
Of course you are not. 750.
Ducky, I'm sure the lieutenant knows his business. If he thinks the reward ought to be boosted, then boost it. I want that emerald back.
Now, look, Lucille,
Would 1,000 be better, Lieutenant?
Oh, indeed it would, senora.
Then offer 1,000, Ducky.
You see, senor Sterner, whether I go between...
Yeah, I know how it works. Okay, call it 1,000.
$1,000? It would not pay the mortgage on the Cafe Mosca, of course, but considering that virtue is said to be its own reward for being, it was handsome. I spent the next 2 hours seeking knowledge of the emerald, but the activities of the police had forced the best of the regulars into hiding, and I learned nothing. And then, as I was walking along the Street of Souls in the old city, a voice spoke to me from the darkness of the gateway to the ancient convent known as El Corazon.
Theo Martinez.
Your servant, senor.
Got a matter we'd like to talk to you about.
We?
Him and me.
Oh, your pardon. I could not see your friend in the shadows.
We got a mutual acquaintance. Georgia Young.
Georgia Young? Oh, see. I have not seen him since the profitable years of Prohibition.
Before we left Miami, he said to look you up if we ever needed someone to work an angle. He gave us his letter of introduction.
Oh, thank you. Strike a match, please.
Yeah.
A little closer, please. Dear friend Theo, these muchachos are okay. I have a deal with them, just like in the old days. Georgie. Well, you know my name. What is yours?
Moore, Gus Moore.
My name's none of your business.
Stop it, Leo, will you? His name's Leo Walsh. We only been here in Cuba a little while.
You said that you needed somebody to work an angle.
Yeah. We got a shipment on the Florida coast, just beyond Key West. We want it brought here tonight. There's 400 rifles.
Please. I am not interested in the nature of your cargo. You tell me that you are importers, and that is all an honest man need know.
Yeah.
Is it George Young who provides you with the merchandise?
Yeah.
Just like in the old days. It can be done, gentlemen, but it will cost money, of course. $1,500.
That's highway robbery. Let me rough him up a little.
Stop it, Leo, will you? Okay, Martinez, $1,500. Cash on delivery.
Half of it now.
$300 now.
I'm sorry, no.
Well, that's all the cash we have.
How do you propose to get more?
How much is this worth?
The American Turistas Emera.
Huh?
What's so funny?
Oh, just the ways of fortune. I'm sorry you will not understand.
You talk too much.
Yeah. See, one of my great failings.
I can fix that.
Cut it out, Leo. Well, how about it? That rock's worth more than $1,200.
Oh, much more. But the question is, what can one unload it for? Tell me, how did you acquire this?
Oh, a dame I picked up at a bar while the husband was dead drunk. Well?
I will make the arrangements. You give me $300 on the emerald.
Yeah, you get the $300 now as a binder. I'll hand you the stone when you've delivered.
Very well, I agree. Now, you listen carefully to me. You will both meet me at the Café Mosca at 11 o'clock. Mm-hmm. We shall drive from there to a certain beach where we pick up the boat. Is that clear?
Yeah. Leo will meet you.
And you?
Oh, I'm staying at Havana. I got to make arrangements for the truck. I'll meet the boat when it comes back and hand over the emerald. Just tell me where.
The beach at Marianao. There's a dirt road. You cannot miss this. Now, 3 hours to Key West, 15 minutes to load, 3 hours back to Cuba. Mm-hmm. The boat will arrive at Marianao by 5 tomorrow morning. Is it well?
Yeah. Here's your $300.
Much thanks, senor.
You know what I do to chappies who talk too much?
Stop it, Leo, will you? He'll meet you at the Mosque at 11.
It will be my pleasure. Well, is that coffee you drink, Maru?
Oh, sit down, Theo. Sit down. Yeah, it's coffee, all right. I hit 195 a half hour ago.
Well,
what's up?
If you are not too busy tonight, there's a little shipment to be moved in from Key West.
Oh, how much?
$1,000 for you.
And for you?
Only $100.
Go on. What do you think? I'm stupid?
Oh, you are a devil. One can hide nothing from you. Very well, I receive $150.
You.
Easy to deal.
What time do we leave?
Around 11.
I'll have the boat ready just off Guanabaco. You know the dock, sir?
Yes.
Bring the 1,000 with you.
I will give you the 1,000 tomorrow, soon after we return.
Bring it with you, or we do not even leave. Well?
I will bring it with me.
Good. Have some coffee.
No, gracias. It is necessary now to see Amelia. Until 11, then.
Until 11.
Theo, I was worried, little one. You were gone so long.
Oh, I had much business to transact. Oh, Amelia, I am working on a deal, a very big deal. So big that I need $1,000 to swing it.
Theo.
See, I have $300 and I need $700 more. Amelia, will you lend it to me?
I have but $800 in the whole world.
Well, lend me $7. Oh, if this deal proceeds as planned, Amelia, you and I will be married this week, and then I shall settle down as an honest cafe keeper.
Oh, Theo, for that I would give all the money there is.
Where is this boat? I don't see it.
Impatient, Senor Walsh. It's the end of the dock.
A dock, he calls it. Some crummy dock.
No, quiet, please. Maru.
Here, Theo.
Captain Maru, this is Senor Leo Walsh.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You, have some money, Theo?
Here. $1,000 as agreed. Senor Walsh will guide you to the exact spot at Key West. And, gentlemen, I Wish you both a good journey.
Save your wishes for somebody else. You're coming with us.
No. I make it a point never
I
to...
say you are, so does this.
I have a repugnance for guns between associates.
And I don't trust people who talk so much. You're coming with us. Now get in.
I shall do as you say.
All right, now you, Skipper.
Thank you.
Some tub.
You'll never see a faster one.
How fast?
40 knots.
All right, shove off. How come you're so quiet, big mouth?
Oh, I was just thinking. Was thinking that the life of honesty contains almost as much interest as the kind I have formerly led.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape. But first, a favorite program with CBS listeners who want to keep abreast of the times is the news report by Alan Jackson, broadcast every Sunday morning over most of these same CBS stations. Jackson is one of CBS's ace reporters who has covered important world events in New York, London, and Berlin. Now stationed in CBS Washington News Bureau, Alan Jackson brings you the news in a clear, informed manner that has become a CBS tradition. Remember to listen this Sunday to Alan Jackson and the News, a regular CBS feature.
Tune in this fall for the shows that you love best of all. Listen carefully, here's the address. It's CBS, CBS.
And now back to Escape and the second act of Night in Havana.
In 3 hours, we were passing through the Florida Keys. Maru had no difficulty in following Senor Walsh's directions. There was a place where a finger of land got into the water, an old rum runner's landing base, which I remembered well. A truck was waiting, and 3 men who came forward as we tied to the dock of rotting planks. Senor Walsh spoke to them briefly, and in 10 minutes the heavy crates were on board and we were off again, clearing the land quietly at a low speed and then roaring into the open.
Come on, pour it on.
I'm giving it full throttle now. Relax, Sonny.
Listen, squarehead.
You talking to me?
Who else? I don't like for you to call me Sonny.
I do it because you're so bright.
How would you like a third eye?
Senor Walsh, Maru, enough. Carry this as far as you please once we are on shore, but until then...
Yeah, we will go into it first after we
I led them to the squabbling, stretched out on the bench in the cockpit, my head on my arms, gazing into the sky, and soothed by the powerful hum of the engines, so steady that they were in themselves a sort of silence. I thought of Amalia, and how soft and comfortable she was, and that we were both at the right age for marriage. Steady people who knew that what we had was worth a dozen romantic flights to the moon. And I thought of how now there would be a little money for the raising of the mortgage and the Café Mosca. And then I dozed. And then...
What's the matter? How come you cut the motor?
Shut up. Theo, are you awake? Do you hear?
See. Where are your binoculars?
Binoculars? What are you looking for?
Coast Guard.
Where are we, Maru?
About 2 miles off the coast between Matanzas and Havana.
I see them. They're to the west, about the same distance south. What is the time?
4:20. Sun will be up in less than 2 hours. Which way are they heading?
I cannot... Oh, there's a searchlight. This is...
They were tipped off. They were looking for us. Somebody talked. Martinez, shut up.
It's radar. They're also equipped. I have heard that. They come toward us.
Dump the cargo. When they come, we've been fishing.
No, every cent I got is tied up in those boxes.
I said dump the gun.
And I said no. We'll run for it. This boat's faster than that one.
At this angle, they have us cut off from the open sea. If we go west, we pass Havana. If we go east, Matanzas. As soon as we move, the radio for help, they call.
And I said we'll run for it. Now take the wheel, fat boy, and pour it on. But on. They're moving fast.
I command you.
No, you don't. This does. Get back to the wheel.
Careful, Maru. Careful. He's frightened.
Put away your gun, Sonny.
Stand where you are.
I said... Shoot me, will you?
Enough, Maru, enough. His spine has cracked like a banana stalk. Enough, I say.
Gio, I hurt bad.
Lie down here. Let me see.
Well?
Ugly, Maru. Very ugly.
Help me to the wheel.
Yeah.
then drop the dinghy and row to shore. I try to make it back to Key West.
You need care immediately. We'll both go to shore in the dinghy.
But my boat's a Coast Guard.
I will turn it out to sea and set the throttles. She'll give them a run for their money.
But when they overtake us, they'll find the cargo. They know the boat is mine.
One step at a time, Maru. At the moment, we will do as I say. First, we feed Senor Wharf to the fishes. Then the dinghy goes over the side. Then you and I. I landed the dinghy only a short distance below the place where I'd left the car. Before 5:30, Maru was in good hands, and I was at the Flores Hotel, knocking at the door of the suite occupied by Senor and Senora Stern. At that moment, I would have surrendered all thoughts of profit for this night's labor in return for assurance that only Amalia's $700 would not be lost.
Lieutenant Molina, this is a sweet...
I give you 1,000 apologies, Senor. Only an emergency forces me to do this. We can't get your emerald now. Do you understand?
Yeah, sure, but...
Only we need your cruiser. You must come with me in your cruiser. And now. I assure you it is our only chance. There is no danger, Senor.
All right, I'll get dressed.
I'll be waiting for you across the street in the black touring car. You come quickly, wear dark clothes, bring the money. But quickly, Senor, quickly.
Where are we going?
We are bound for the beach called Marianao.
Never heard of it.
Has a wooden pier. Should be just about light enough to distinguish. We arrived. Hey, you have brought the cash.
Yeah. How much do I have to pay?
The maximum, Senor, $1,000. They would not do it for less, I am sorry.
No, it's okay. I didn't think you could keep them down even to that. Am I on course?
Yes, exactly on course. We are almost there. I think that you had better give me the money now.
Yeah, it's in my right hip pocket, Lieutenant. Help yourself.
Much thanks. Senor, I am sorry that our regional laxity in guarding the possessions of your wife has put you to all this trouble.
No, forget it. It's one piece with the rest of the trip. I've had a lousy time.
Oh, I am most sorry. We naturally prefer to have the touristas love cook.
No, it's not your fault. I was mostly too drunk to see anything.
I have always tried. Senor, there is more than $1,000 in this pocket. There is 1,100.
Oh, yeah. I meant to tell you. The thousands for the emerald, the other hundreds for you, for all of your courtesy and attention.
Oh, regulations forbid me to accept, Senor. But since it would be discourteous, much thanks. We are past Hamanitas now, I think. Yes, there is the dock at Maranao. Hey, let me take the wheel.
There's someone on shore is blinking a light there. 3 times.
I have noticed.
Hey, what are you doing? Heading out to sea?
No. I will back in. So. And now comes the most important part, Senor. Now, when I bring the boat to a halt at the dock, you must take the wheel and keep your hand on the throttle with the motor running. And when I say to you, now, you throw in the clutch and full speed ahead. Do you understand this?
Well, sure, but why? It's all arranged, isn't it?
See, it is arranged, and this is the most crucial part of the arrangement.
Okay, whatever you say, Lieutenant.
All right, you take the wheel. Now remember, keep your hand on the throttle.
Don't forget easy.
Here comes my man along the dock now. Remember, when I say now.
Go ahead, let's get this over with.
Senor Moore?
Martinez?
See, everything has gone well.
Where's Watch?
At the wheel.
Oh, good. Throw me a line to get my boys to start unloading.
First, before you tie us up, we will conclude our affair, huh? You have the emerald for me?
Oh, yeah. Here, take it.
Good. Much thanks. Here is our cable. Make fast the boat, huh?
Yeah, I got it.
Now, senor, now! Lie down on the deck.
What?
But quickly, you will not be surprised forever. Lie down, stay there.
Well, I don't understand.
I think we'll soon be out of range.
You lead an interesting life, Molina.
It has its moments.
When I saw you handing the cable, I was sure I'd rip the stern off her as soon as I gave it throttle.
Well, senor, I took the precaution to untie it on our side first. Look, the sun is rising. Senor, do you know of any satisfaction to compare with that accompanying a good job well done? 3 days later, I was sitting at a table in the Café Moscow with Maru. His wounds still troubled him, and he had lost much weight. A matter he was remedying as quickly as he could.
2 more beers.
Better make it 3. Visitor approaches. No. Don't turn your head. It's Lieutenant Molina.
Oh, they found my boat.
You are ready with the story.
It was stolen while I was ill. I know nothing of it.
Bueno. I will testify to it. No, Maru. I have lost my taste for reading. I now spend most evenings at the highlight games, and I find
Captain
that
Maru?
Yeah?
The Coast Guard has found a boat that belongs to you. Do you have so many that one may be lost without your feeling the necessity of reporting it?
I've been ill. I've not been down to the harbor these 3 days.
I have a question to ask.
Ask it, then.
They found several large crates on board.
They did?
Do you know what we discovered in them? Scrap metal.
Scrap metal? I use it for ballast. Careful, beer?
See, to celebrate my wedding, which occurs this afternoon.
So I have heard. You are going to lead an honest life, Tio?
See. I have been experimenting with it, and I find that it suits me.
Well, keep it confidential. Otherwise, the budget for the police department may be cut to the bone.
Goodbye, Lieutenant. Go with God.
You heard what he said. The crates contain scrap metal.
I'm not surprised. In the note my friend Georgie Young sent to me, he wrote that he was in on a deal just like in the old days.
Huh?
Well, in the old days, he sold many a bootlegger barrels of whiskey which contained only water. In that way, you see, he did not break the law and may be said to have earned his money honorably. As I may be said to do, too.
You call owning a cafe earning money honorably?
Well, it depends on the clientele.
Huh?
And in that respect, Maru, perhaps it would be better, after the wedding, of course, if you took your custom elsewhere.
Suppose I tell you that from now on, I will be as honest as you yourself. Will you let me patronize this bar?
Oh, gladly, Maru. But, of course, I will be doubly watchful of the cash register.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Night in Havana by Burnham Carter, adapted for radio by Walter Brown Newman. Featured in the cast were Tony Barrett as Tio, Alan Reed as Maru, and Janet Nolan as Amelia and Mrs. Sterner. Also heard were Ted Von Eltz, Bill Conrad, Jeff Corey, and Jack Webb. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week...
You are tortuously worming your way inch by inch through a narrow pipe deep under the ground, unable to turn back, not knowing what lies ahead. Possible death or escape.
Next week, we escape with William Corcoran's grim story, The Blue Wall. Good night, then, until the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Young and old benefit by the Community Chest Red Feather Services. When you make your contribution this year, you'll be helping to support the Boy and Girl Scouts, the YMCA, and the YWCA, child guidance clinics and day nurseries. So give generously to the Red Feather Services. Stay tuned now for Sing It Again, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Nestle's Ever Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk.
and Nestle's chocolate bars now present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz is at the controls of a strange spaceship in another galaxy. Happy is nearby in the Terra 5. In contact by miniature spaceophone, they plan to rescue a fellow Space Patrol pilot.
That enemy ship is gaining on Northfield, Commander. If I pulled ahead now, maybe I could throw him off.
No, Happy. He'd get you and Northfield both. I'd stand a better chance than you because I'm in an enemy ship.
Hey, that's great. Hey, he'll think you're his buddy.
Now stick close, Hap, as though the Terra 5 were still captured.
Yes, sir. If we can fool that enemy pilot for a few minutes more, we can rescue Northfield. Uh-oh. Commander, this is terrible.
What is it, Hap?
I just picked up the enemy commander's space phone channel. He knows we've escaped. He just gave that enemy pilot orders to blast both our ships.
We'll return in just a moment with a thrilling story, The Lost Galaxy.
Say, Commander, you coming to the Christmas party today?
Sure I have. Wouldn't miss it for anything. Space Patrol parties have always been so warm and jolly, just like family Christmas get-together.
Gee, they certainly are a treat for those of us who don't get to go home. And say, you ought to see what Captain Tufeld has cooked up for refreshments.
I knew you'd be in on that.
Well, look, as head of the entertainment committee, I had to be sure everything would be right. And, well, of course, I wanted to help, so, well, let's see. What was I saying now? Oh, yeah. We've got a whole raft of sensational Toll House cookies made with Nestle's cookie mix and Nestle's semi-sweet morsels. And brownies, and plenty of fancy cookies, too. A couple of platters of them.
That's for me.
Wait, that's not all. We've got all Nestle's chocolate bars. Milk chocolate, almond, crunch, and the new coconut bar. Big ones, too.
Oh, sounds fine. Go on.
Well, we'll have our choice of drinks. Cold chocolate milk made with Nestle's Quick, or Nestle's Ever Ready for hot cocoa.
Well, that's a splendid spread, huh? I really must congratulate the food committee. Oh, just one thing. Try not to eat all that good food before the rest of the gang gets there, will you?
Smoking rockets, Commander. Well, smoking rockets is all I can say. Of course, there'll be plenty of food for everybody, but, well, if I were you, I wouldn't get there too late.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Lost Galaxy. A United Planets Space Observatory out beyond the Pluto orbit has been picking up strange electromagnetic impulses from a remote part of the galaxy. Tests revealed a pattern that scientists could interpret only as signals, radio signals produced by intelligent beings in an uncharted region of space. Commander Corey dispatched 4 star-drive spaceships to investigate. Equipped with transmitters that operate through hyperspace, the expedition kept up its regular schedule of reports for 2 days. But now, for 24 hours, not one of the 4 ships has been heard from. Buzz has called Cadet Happy to his central office in Space Patrol headquarters on the man-made planet Terra.
Did we finally get word from Expedition Enigma, Commander?
No, Hap. No word. The last report was received 24 hours ago from Captain Northfield.
Oh, we missed 12 reports.
Yes. Whatever happened must have happened to all the ships simultaneously.
Yeah. Or one of them could have space phoned a warning.
We know from our own experience that hyperspace transmission of signals isn't always perfect.
Hey, how about that space observatory out there on Pluto? Are they still receiving those mysterious signals?
Yes, that proves nothing. Those signals are coming through regular space. Past the point where we last heard from Northfield about 500,000 light years ago.
Oh, that's right. Can you tell us a thing about what's happening out there now?
There's one way to find out. We'll go after them.
I'm all for that, sir, but all we know where they are.
One thing's certain. We'll be 500,000 light years closer than we are now. Let's go.
Now, for the first time in the entire history of the vast Black Sox star system, an atmosphere of tense excitement pervades the headquarters of the Guardian of the Galaxy. Only Makor, the Guardian, retains his usual calm as he discusses alarming news with his chief aide, Sindrana.
You have heard the report, I suppose, Sindrana?
Yes, Makor. And I assume you want me to issue a denial of this preposterous rumor and spread it throughout the galaxy.
It is not a rumor. It is fact. Spaceophone conversation in an unknown language have been picked up at several different points.
But do you realize what you're saying, Excellency? You are saying that there is intelligent life outside of the Draxox star system.
Certainly. Isn't that why we have a guardian? There is no danger of attack from inside. Therefore, our function is to be prepared for trouble from outside.
But that's just superstition, a fairy tale, a game children play. The idea that Graxon should be attacked...
Then, Branagh, are you accusing me of being a figurehead?
No.
Or that this service is a farce, a mockery?
No, Mayport. It's just that for generations there's been no sign of intelligent life anywhere but in Graxon.
Just the same. When the signal's intersected, 4 spaceships are moving through our galaxy.
If there isn't much danger, 4 ships couldn't conquer the galaxy.
The signals we have picked out may be merely the advance count of a vast fleet of ships. These scouts must be located.
But their weapons may be far more powerful than ours. A race of beings that could come here from another galaxy. Why, they must surpass us in intelligence.
Yes, the way we surpass a toad. Thanks to our far-sighted ancestors who planned our defense 30 generations ago, we wouldn't be entirely helpless.
We have so few armed spaceships, and not enough men trained to fly what ship we have.
One weapon is already in operation. The electronic signal deflector.
If the enemy is already within our galaxy, what good will it do?
Well, will keep him from contacting any of his attack force at a great distance from our solar system. And at a closer distance, the curved signals will confuse the enemy.
Our own ships will also be confused.
Yes, but to a lesser degree. Some of our ships have deflection detectors, so they can compensate for the attack. If we work fast and efficiently, we can rid ourselves of the intruder.
I shall be glad to offer my services in any way.
You will take a scout ship and blast off immediately to a point near to the perimeter of our galaxy. Now, here are your detailed orders.
Meantime, Buzz and Happy and the Terra 5 have emerged from Star Drive at the approximate point where Captain Norfield gave his last report. While Happy carefully watches the viewscopes, Buzz makes repeated attempts to contact the missing Space Patrol ships.
Mandatory aboard Terra 5, calling all units of Expedition Enigma. Corey to all units of Expedition Enigma. No sighting jet, Commander.
The ships may be out of range, Hap. They're probably still heading toward the interior of the galaxy.
On top of that, they're spreading out in different directions.
Well, my guess is they're under the Star Drive again, so they could reach the source of those signals a lot quicker.
Yeah. And when they came out, something happened before they could space them back to Terra.
I'll try once more and look in the Star Drive.
Mandatory aboard Terra 5, calling units of Expedition Enigma. Give me some sort of signal if you can as I call your names. Lieutenant Beaker. Lieutenant Stitter. Lieutenant Marsden. Captain Norfield.
Norfield here, Commander.
Sizzling comets at last. Well, it's good to hear your voice, Captain. Are you in trouble?
No, outside of being a trifle lost.
What about the other boys?
I haven't heard from any of them for several hours, Commander. After we found out, we had trouble making contact by spacephone.
Have you been making your reports to Terra?
Yes, sir. 2-hour intervals. Haven't they been received?
And our last contact with you was your 1600-hour report yesterday.
I haven't heard any Space Patrol signals since that time either, until now. Whatever the interference was, it's okay now. Reading you fine, just as clear as if you were in this galaxy.
Norfield, I am in the galaxy. Happy and I blasted off to see what had happened to you.
Well, now that you're here, sir, I can tell you this. It's good to have company.
Something is wrong, Norfield.
It's my instruments, Commander. The astrogation bank especially. They're out of adjustment. That's one of the reasons I lost contact with the other ships.
What was the last contact?
With Lieutenant Stitter, sir. He said he had sighted a planet that looked pretty good and he was going to investigate it.
Why, pretty good. Did he mean he was receiving those mysterious signals from it?
I assumed he meant that, Commander, that being the purpose of the expedition. Right then he faded out. After that, I noticed that my spacephone fix on Stitter didn't check with my astrogation instrument.
This is serious, Norfield. If your astrogation instruments are off, you can't plot a hyperspace vector for a return to Terra. And at this 500,000 light-year distance, the error could be tremendous.
Yes, I know. I've been trying to locate the trouble.
Well, hold your present vector. We'll follow your spacephone signal until we pick you up on our viewscope.
Very good, sir.
You've got to correct those instruments of yours, Captain. Put on your ID signal and we'll write it in.
In his headquarters, Makor, the guardian of Graxok, has finally contacted his chief aide, Sinzana, after considerable difficulty.
I've been trying to contact you. What have you been up to?
Sorry, Excellency. It's these deflection fields. They're playing havoc with communications.
Have you located any of the enemy ships?
Not visually, Mate. However, I have picked up 2 spacephone conversations. That is, I assume they were conversations.
Okay. Isn't your translator working?
I've tried all the regular circuit combinations with the galaxy languages, Mate. I don't think our translator will handle non-galaxy speech.
All right. Don't waste any more time. They are probably exchanging information for an attack. The quicker you destroy them, the better. The Alpha Ray will destroy all forms of life higher than ours. It was designed for this specific purpose.
It's hard to have confidence in a weapon that one has never seen used, and one that hasn't even been tested for 10 centuries.
It will work. It was designed according to scientific principles. When directed properly toward our enemies, the Alpha Ray will destroy them. Proceed as commanded.
With Captain Norfield's identification signals sounding in their spaceophone receiver, Buzz and Happy speed to contact their fellow space patroller.
Hey, what's happening to the signal? We're getting closer to Northfield, so we should be coming in stronger.
There's a strange drift operating here, huh? Electromagnetic drift. We'll hold this back, but maybe it'll clear up again.
Commander, the viewscope. There's a ship.
Good. Apparently the drift isn't affecting the viewscope frequencies.
Well, for a minute there, I was afraid we'd lost Captain Northfield.
When we're a few DUs closer, we'll try contacting him on another frequency.
Captain's transmitter must have failed completely, sir. As close as we are to his ship, we surely ought to be able to...
That's not a space patrol ship.
Hey, it sure isn't. But then what ship is it?
Probably a patrol ship from this galaxy investigating us. Put on the frequency scanner. See if we can pick up a signal from them. I'll put in a translator.
Right, sir.
Transportnie Marco. Konie Grobek Cyrilla.
Hold it down. Yes, sir.
Vidielano. Red. Toba. Was on a clone.
Is he talking to us?
Try some other translator settings. It's another voice. Same tune.
Sani Bruzline. Play.
Oh, he sure sounds excited.
Miss Boba. Rick. Rihanna. The enemy is evading.
You got it, sir.
Beast. No more time. Destroy them.
I'll make him understand how to put on the translator.
Yes, sir.
Sindrana, this is the pilot of the ship you regard as an enemy. Can you hear me?
Michael, you hear that? Hear what? That voice that spoke to me by name in our language. Draxock.
Yes, I spoke to you. I have an instrument that can translate most languages. We're here on a peaceful mission.
They say they're on a peaceful mission. Can you hear them? No, I can't. You have your orders. Destroy them. Very well, Michael. I will use the ultimate.
Send the rest of it. Fire at him. Port and stop. I can't move.
I've used the ultra-ray, Macorn. The enemy is destroyed.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment.
Say, Dad, let's go around and see Captain Toothbrush and see how the Christmas party's coming along. Hi there, Captain Toothbrush.
Well, hi, Tony.
Miss Carol asked me to come over and see if there was anything I could do to help you.
Well, Tony, it's mighty nice of you to drop in, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, Captain. This box has some extra cookies that Carol baked for us. Look, she made lots of Tool House cookies with Nestle's Cookie Mix and semi-sweet morsels. And here are brownies. Oh, boy, and Santa Claus cookies and chocolate pinwheels. Gee, it makes me hungry just to think about it. May I have another?
Hey, easy there, Tony. Let's not eat up the whole party before it starts.
Okay. Say, I hope you've got plenty of Nestle's chocolate bars.
Why, sure thing. See, this whole basket's full of milk chocolate, almond, crunch, and the new Nestle's coconut bar. How's that?
Out of this universe. I'm glad you got the big size. What's to drink?
Plenty of milk in the thermo freeze and plenty of Nestle's Quick, so we can make all the delicious chocolate milk you can drink. And a big supply of Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa for all those who want something hot.
Smokin' rocket. If this party isn't the greatest, well, it ought to be super cosmic.
Well, Tony, I certainly hope so. The gang's been looking forward to Christmas and our little celebration. But right now, we better get the presents sorted and piled up. Now, no fair peeking. I'll see you at the party later.
Boy, you can bet on that. I'll be the first through the door. I want to be sure Hap doesn't beat me to the refreshments.
And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Lost Galaxy. Buzz and Happy are in a remote galaxy to find 4 lost Space Patrol ships. Fearing an invasion, the Guardian of the Galaxy dispatched his chief aide, Sindrana, to destroy every strange ship encountered. Using his electronic translator, Buzz was able to establish contact with Sindrana. Despite the commander's protest that he was on a peaceful mission, Sindrana discharged a weapon that for centuries has been kept in readiness for a possible invader. Confident that he's destroyed his enemy, Sindrana reports to Makor, guardian of the Draxock star system.
The enemy ship is continuing its original course, Makor.
If you change yours,
your course, Sandrana?
Yes, as a test. The ship is not attempting to follow me. Therefore, its pilot and other occupants, if any, have been eliminated by the ultra ray.
Well, then board it. By studying the controls, you will probably be able to cut off its power. Then it can be easily brought to our main spaceport.
Very good. I'll board this ship.
Be very careful. Be sure the seal is tight around their airlock when you enter.
But I'll be using a spacesuit.
Of course you will. But I want to preserve the air within their ship. It will tell us about the type of worlds they come from.
There may be a period when I'll be out of contact with you. The space phone in my spacesuit isn't powerful enough to reach your headquarters.
Then simply relay it to your ship transmitter. Now hurry. Get aboard that enemy ship.
Meantime, Buzz and Happy lie motionless on the deck of the Terra 5, just as they fell when Sandrana discharged the ultra ray. Moments pass. Then a slight movement, a twitch of Happy's fingers. Now the commander's eyelids flicker.
Are you okay? Yes, I'm sort of numb and fuzzy-headed. I can move my arms a little bit now. Wow, but ultra ray, whatever it is, sure packs a wallop. Yes, but lucky for us, not as much as it was supposed to.
I'm in the airlock of the enemy ship, Mako.
It's coming out of our spaceplane.
Be sure there is no leak as you enter the ship. The outer hatch is closed tight. Now I'm opening the inner hatch. Mako, what is the matter? These creatures, these beings from another galaxy. Two of them lying here in the control compartment. Stop gibbering. Naturally, they are complex monsters. They cannot. You don't understand. Makor, they're human. They're just like you and me, human beings. Spirits, perhaps. But the ultra ray destroyed all that was really different about them. They're super intelligent, yes. I've just looked at my atmosphere analyzer unit. The air in this ship is similar to that on many of our planets. I'm going to take a chance and lift my helmet facepiece.
Ordinary air. And the temperature is very comfortable.
I'll get to work and figure out their controls.
Yes, right away. Strange that beings with heads no larger than ours are capable of such vast intelligence.
You are trying my patience, Sandrana.
Just one close look. Amazing. Different clothes. They could pass for an inhabitant of any of our... They're alive.
Bet we are. I'll handle them, Hap. Mako, they're alive.
It's Sandrana. What's happening out there? Answer me.
Yes, sir.
Sandrana, something wrong? Can you hear me? Are we having trouble with the reception again?
Transmitter's off. Plug the receiver, too. Can you handle that, guy, sir? Yes. We're doing one of those portable translators. We needed to talk to somebody. Okay, Commander. While I'm talking to him, you try to pick up that ID signal from Captain Norfield's ship. Right, sir. Hey, here's the miniature translator, sir. I'll adjust it for you. Match the reading to the big job on the control panel. Hold still, you. Clip it to my belt. I'll explain things to Suzanne. You'd better hurry. He's half out of his mind with terror. It should work now, sir. Thank you. Now listen, Sandrana. Quiet down. You won't get hurt. I'll let you go now. But don't try anything. We have weapons here that are a little more effective than your ultra ray. Understand? I understand. I came here to rescue 4 scout ships on a scientific mission. Our scientists picked up spacephone signals from your galaxy. They sent out an expedition to find out where they came from. I see you don't believe me. It's the truth. Anyway, the expedition's reports were cut off. Apparently, there's some sort of interference originating in this galaxy. Then our reflecting field is successful. You can't contact your invasion fleet. Reflecting field? Yes. Electromagnetic waves, including spacephone signals, are slightly bent. Yes. And between galaxies, the error would be enormous. Yeah, it's like playing billiards with a bent cue on a warped table. Really? One of your super intelligent games. Not the way I play it. Hey, Commander. Picked up Captain Norfield. Good. I'll try to contact him. Keep an eye on him. Yes, sir. Commander Corey aboard Terra 5 calling Captain Norfield. Commander Corey to Captain Norfield.
Norfield here, Commander, and busy.
What's the trouble?
Seems I'm not popular in this galaxy, sir. Some of the local talents on my tail throwing go-away presents at me. They're not candy and flowers.
explosives?
The large economy size.
We got something a little different, but we're okay now. How many ships are after you?
Just one, but he'll do. I fired everything at him but the space rations. Now I'm down to a basic tactics only.
Keep your ID signal on. We'll join you. Hurry out.
Thanks, Commander. I'll be seeing you. I hope.
Cindrana, get on the space phone and call off that attack.
Even if you force me, I have no authority over that other Draxock pilot. Nakor is in supreme command. We won't waste time.
Got to separate our ship from Cindrana's so we can maneuver and catch up at Northfield. Yes, you take the controls. I'll take Cindrana into his ship. Now get going, Cindrana. Into the airlock.
In the Draxock ship a moment later, Buzz forces the half-frightened and half-defiant Cindrana to the control panel.
All right, Cindrana. Cut your ship loose from ours. No tricks.
You can't force me to fight against my own people.
If you weren't so thick-headed, you'd understand there's no reason for a fight. Now call off that pilot, and we'll leave you alone. All we want to do is get back to our own galaxy.
Good happy to Commander Corey.
Corey here, Hap. Cindrana's acting stubborn. He won't cut Terra 5 loose.
Sir, I've just sighted Northfield in the viewscope. The Draxock pilot is giving him a rough time, sir.
So we'll join the battle, Hap. You have to do all the work. You'll find it tough to overcome the extra inertia of this ship, plus its rocket flash.
Yeah, like being in a boxing match with a keg of nails under one arm. But if I can get on another pilot's tail and fly a fairly straight approach, well, I can let him have a blast with our atom cannons.
That's the way it'll have to be, Hap.
Right. That pilot sees I'm firing at him, he's going to fire back. And we'll be as helpless as a couple of sitting ducks with locked wings.
Wait, I'll cut your ship loose.
I thought the same thing.
There. The ship was separated. But I won't join the fight.
Hap, you're free. The Terra 5 is on its own now.
Commander, the enemy ship is gaining on Northfield. If I pulled ahead now, maybe I could draw him off.
No, Hap. We'd get you and Northfield both. I'd stand a better chance because I'm in one of the Draxock ships.
Hey, that's great.
Now stick close, Hap, as though the Terra 5 was still captured.
Yes, sir. Yeah, if we can keep that guy fooled for a few minutes more, we can rescue Northfield. Uh-oh. Hey, Commander, this is terrible.
What is it, Happy?
I just picked up the enemy commander's spacephone channel. He knows we've escaped. He just gave that enemy pilot orders to blast both our ships.
You heard that, Cindrana. You're in for it anyway.
Let me take this ship away from here.
If you run out, Happy will have to blow up that other ship. The pilot is of your own galaxy. Don't you want to save him?
He has his orders for Nakor.
Now, look. Just stun him with your ultimate. The way you did Happy and me, it won't hurt him. You'll save his life. You can tell Nakor it was an accident.
Commander, shall I go after that Draxock pilot?
Fire some bracket shots around him to get him off Northfield. I'm going to try to operate the ultra-ray myself.
You can't do it. Even with your superior intelligence, a theory I'm beginning to doubt.
Let's go, you see. I see. This control might be right. No, second.
While you're playing with those controls, my fellow Draxock pilot will destroy your friend Happy.
Keep still and let me alone. Let's see.
Now, Corey. Now, wait, your strategy worked. I knew I would get you off guard. That's the fact. You try to interfere, I'll use your own weapon on you.
What are you going to do?
Yes. I'm going to focus the ultra-ray on your Terra 5 and take Happy out of the fight. I think I'll force a bit. So, now the ultra-ray.
Don't touch that switch.
I'm inside now, Corey. When I throw this switch, your cadet will be... Stand back, Corey. I'll fire. I warn you.
I'll take my gun back, Cindrana. I forgot to tell you the safety of it. The gun won't fire unless you press this lock.
You let me take the gun away from you.
Okay, sir. I want to find out how the ultra-ray works, so I'll let you show me.
Commander, Cindrana's pal is firing at us. Shall I let him have it?
No, Hap. This ultra-ray will take care of him. Stay where you are, Cindrana. This will come. I hope that got him.
I think it did, sir. He was using evasive action all over space, and now he's on a straight vector.
Keep an eye on him, Hap. Cindrana, call Nakor.
What for?
Get on that space phone and tell him what happened to his pilot. I'll tell him.
Chief Aide Cindrana calling Nakor, guardian of Draxock.
Nakor, former Chief Aide Cindrana. Boy, had you.
It wasn't my fault. The ultra-ray is a failure.
Not quite, Nakor. You took care of your other assassin.
What's that, Cindrana?
One of the invaders. He turned the ultra-ray and my ship on our other pilot.
Yes, and right now he's unconscious and headed out of the galaxy. If you want to save him, you'd better listen to reason.
You, the ultra-ray, one of our people. A barbarian. You invaders.
We're not invaders. All we want to do is get out of your galaxy and return home. Now cut off your electromagnetic deflectors so we can set an accurate vector on our star drive.
I cut off the deflectors, your whole attack force will stream into our galaxy.
We don't have an attack force, but suppose we did. Suppose we took a chance and got home with your two men, Sandrana and that pilot. We'd know the secret of your deflectors, your ships, and all your defenses. We'll give Sandrana a chance to rescue that other pilot. We can bring both your ships safely back to base.
Please, Excellency. Do as he says.
All right, Corey. I'll order the deflectors cut off.
Fine. Happy, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Sandrana and I will overtake that other ship at Mayclaws. Now cut off the translators. Someone may be listening.
Yes, sir. All clear, sir.
Trail me to the other ship. I know a few rope tricks that'll keep Sandrana and his pal from using their altar rays and space cannon until we're on our way in Terra 5.
Yes, sir.
We've got a job to do before we return to Terra. We've got to find those other 3 ships of the expedition.
Captain Norfield, Commander, pardon my interrupting, but can I get in on this project?
Well, it's back to Terra for you, Norfield. Hap and I can handle it.
I don't doubt that, Commander. Thanks for saving my life. And I want to include Cadet Happy in on that, too.
We'll see you on Terra, Captain. Hap and I have got a few chores to do.
Good luck, Commander. Talk to you about it.
Say, Commander, something's been bothering me. I feel sort of insulted.
Insulted? How?
What about that Ultra Ray? It's supposed to destroy intelligent people. And it only stunned us. I guess we must be pretty dumb.
Well, think of it this way, huh? Would you have felt any better if the Ultra Ray had proved you were a genius?
Gee, no. I wouldn't be around to feel anything. I guess sometimes it's smart to be stupid.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Hey, pretty good. Say, Hap, Dick, Carol, Robbie, Tony, everybody. It was a wonderful party and the best Christmas day we've ever had. The presents, the entertainment, the Nestle's refreshments, it couldn't have been better. I want to thank one and all.
Now, I'd like to make a little speech. And this is serious, Jimmy. To all our radio friends, I'd like to wish the very happiest of Christmases. We're real glad to have had you with us at our party today, and we hope you'll be around for lots more parties to come.
And I'd like to add a word from the Nestle Company, which sends its sincerest wishes for a merry and warm Christmas to all its friends from coast to coast. Have a wonderful day.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. George and Happy have landed on a strange planet in a remote galaxy. In their spacesuits, they've boarded a stranded spaceship to rescue a fellow space patroller. Buzz carries the wounded pilot into the airline.
Open the outer hatch, Hap. Yes, sir. Hey, what's that sound? Take a look outside. Come in. That stream of liquid, or that metal, or whatever it is rising up all around the ship. And the ladder's gone. Dissolved.
Hap, we're stranded in a river of corrosive acid. If we don't get out of here, it'll dissolve the entire ship, and us with it.
Be sure to join us next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, Ambush in Space. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Bela Kovacs, Ken Mayer, Norman Jolly, and Tony Sides. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday for exciting action on Space Patrol! This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Eveready, the instant cocoa, Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast for Armed Forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.